from the hot air balloon capital of the world. This is Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. The 48th edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon, is happening now in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And now, live and direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park, here are the hosts of Balloon Fiesta Live, Glen Moyer and Lloyd Jr.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls watching around the world who are gathered with us here at Balloon Fiesta Park in Albuquerque. We are live on Balloon Fiesta Live for the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon. I'm Glen Moyer, and alongside me, as always, my partner, Lloyd Jr. Good morning, Art.
Good morning, sir. Hey, it's hump day. It's Wednesday.
It is hump day. I was thinking about that this morning. We don't have a camel balloon. Of all the special shapes, there is no camel balloon.
We're going to have to get one.
We need a hump day balloon.
But you know what? We'd have a hard time squeezing it in because we have a jam-packed day.
We do,
of flying here this morning.
And the green flag's already up. That's the great news. So we are good to go this morning. Yeah.
And so let's we're going to get started with the Dawn Patrol show.
Yep.
We're going to have our Krispy Kreme glow.
Right.
We're going to have the Flight of the Nations.
Yep.
And then we're going to have a mass ascension on top of all of that.
And then we're going to be tired.
Like we're not already, right?
Well,
I actually got 6 hours of sleep.
I was going to say, I got the best night of sleep I've had so far. Certainly the longest. I think I was in bed by about 8:30 last night. We had last night was our first night off since we started, and it was well needed and well appreciated.
That is.
Yeah.
That is.
So I feel pretty good this morning. Pretty well rested. So. And that's good because it's hump day, and it's almost like we're halfway through. Now we got to make the home run push, I guess, to get us to the end.
That's it. And, of course, we're following the America's Challenge gas balloon race as well.
Indeed.
We'll have a full update on that a little bit later yet this morning, but 2 of the teams have landed. 7 are still flying. 1 is about to go over Minneapolis Airport in the middle of rush hour.
I saw a great photo that Sherry White posted, and they were flying, I forget where, but it was of them flying during the night tonight, or last night, I guess it is because it's now morning, more or less. And she said, if she was alone in the balloon with just her and the stars and the sound of Mark snoring and cows mooing down below.
Oh, yeah.
So, I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, we've actually got some great pictures and some videos, not only from the chase, but also from the balloon as well, as you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Like I said, in our update a little bit later this morning, we'll bring you all of that. And, of course, you can track that on balloonfiesta.com or on your mobile app on YB Races.
Hey, the first order of business this morning is our Dawn Patrol show, which is presented by Route 66 Casino, Hotel, and RV Park. And they are already getting cold inflated out along row M. You can see on the monitor there if you're watching us live. The balloon's beginning to cold inflate, getting ready to celebrate what is the 24th Dawn Patrol show. And that's going to be exciting. And they're planning a little something special this morning.
They are, which should be really nice. And I think it's it's warm up here today. Now, I got the heaters going, and
relatively speaking,
there's no breeze that I have seen.
Yeah, there's no wind chill. That's true.
No, nothing at all. So it feels warm up here. So it's a really great morning for what our Dawn Patrol is planning. We're not going to tip it away.
We don't want to give it away just yet.
No.
Yeah. But I noticed I can actually feel the heat off the heaters this morning, and generally, if there's the least bit of breeze, the heat just seems to dissipate away.
Blows
and
away.
They're nice to look at. They don't seem to provide much warmth, but it does feel, and it actually is a little bit. I think this might be the warmest morning because when I checked before I left the hotel, trying to decide how many layers to put on.
Right.
I think it said it was like 50. I want to say 58 maybe.
Oh, wow. Because it was like 48 yesterday.
Yeah, it felt colder than that when I got outside, but unfortunately I keep several layers optional in the truck so that when I get to Balloon Fiesta Park, if I need an extra layer, I can put it on. But I think it's one of the warmer mornings we've had this week, which is, of course, the calm before the storm because there is a cold front coming. And last I saw, we're going to see freezing temperatures before we're done here. So,
cold pack of our Dawn Patrol show balloons continues. They're looking to be about 2/3 of the way ready before they put the burners to the air and heat the air and stand the balloons up.
And we do have radio communication as always with the Dawn Patrol show. And what we're waiting for now is we'll begin to start hearing. You can hear some of it in the background perhaps. Each of the pilots reports in that they are cold packed and ready. Now that means that they've been using their gasoline powered inflated fans and they are filling the envelope of the balloon with what we call cold air. It's just ambient air. It's the air around us. You just simply, it's like you blow up any old balloon, or we inflate hot air balloons. But a toy balloon, when you put your mouth around a toy balloon and you blow air into it, same thing happens with hot air balloons. We have to inflate it and fill it with air, and so that's what's happening now. And so the pilots, once they have their balloon envelope completely filled with air, they report in, they're cold packed and ready. So the next step following that is then to begin the hot inflation.
Of course, once we do stand them up, we're going to have a great photo op. We'll do a couple of all burns and a twinkle burn. We'll introduce our pilots here in just a few moments, and then off to that special flight in the sky of our Dawn Patrol show.
A bit of a mini glow is what we call it when once we get the balloons all stood up. And we're listening for the word from our Dawn Patrol leader, whose balloon you see on the screen right now, Scott Vesley. He'll be the one who will report that all the balloons are cold packed and ready, and then he'll give the command for them to begin flicker burns to start to hot inflate and stand the balloons up.
I've heard about 4 or 5 report as cold packed.
Yeah.
The balloons are slightly different sizes, and they have a little bit different.
Team, let's light them up.
There we go.
There we go.
There's the command for them to start the flicker burns. And there you see, if you look on the monitors, you can see the balloon starting to light up, or glow as we call it, in the darkness. There they are, as the pilots begin to light those propane burners, put some heat into the balloon. Initially, they start with just some short bursts, what we call flicker burns or twinkle burns, depending on what part of the country or world you're in. And then eventually they go hard onto the burner, as you see Rick Jones coming up right there. Hard on the burner to bring the balloon up to an upright position.
Always like those little bursts, those little flicker burns.
Yeah.
Because the temperature is just so different. It kind of helps set everything out there with those. You know it's there. Gets a little bit of extra pulling of the fabric. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, and you
then
don't
stand up.
You don't see it, but when you begin to learn about the movement of air as you become a hot air balloon pilot, and as you start, while the envelope is filled with air, once you start to heat it, the molecules get bigger and they start to move around and roll around a bit, and it helps to expand the balloon. And so you don't want to just blast into there with a lot of heat all at once. So those little flicker burns help to get that air movement going, get the balloon expanding, and then you can add the solid beam of heat and bring the thing right up.
So I think we're all stood up there.
Looks like they're all standing. So our first order of business, I think, is an all burn. I think that's usually the way we do it once they're all on, have done the hot inflation.
And then we'll introduce them all.
All right, so pilots, it's time for us to do our first all burn of the morning. And so let's make this one a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the field, we'd like for you to join with us in our countdown. We do the hot air countdown, we do the countdown rather, for our first all burn in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All burn Dawn Patrol. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to introduce to you the members of our Dawn Patrol show, beginning with Scott Vesley. He's our team leader out of Wiley, Texas. He flies the balloon Lighthouse Business Information Solutions. Next to him is Rick Jones out of Concord, New Hampshire. Rick flies the balloon High Polarity. Then there is Andy Wayner from El Paso, Texas, flying Hubba Bubba. What's great? I got it. Greg Lindsay is next from Stafford, Arizona. He flies the balloon Floating Oasis. Tim Taylor is from Holiday, Utah, flying D3. Michael Scott from Oklahoma City flies Spirits Rainbow. Brian Carlson from Topeka, Kansas, flies the balloon Dreams Fulfilled. Matt Grote out of Rio Rancho, New Mexico, flies the balloon Jester Unwinds. Dale Ruth is from right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, flying Dawn's Delight. Tim Cloyd from Reynolds, Iowa flies Glorious Drifter. And Chuck Schick rounds out the team from Bosque Farms, New Mexico, flying Brilliant Shadow. That is your Dawn Patrol Show team. So now that we've introduced the pilots, let's do a flicker burn. The first of the morning, pilots a flicker burn. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please help us with the countdown if you're on the field. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flicker burn, Dawn Patrol, flicker burn.
Looking good out there.
I like how one of the balloons has, again, has that lighted crown line.
I was just going to say, I see it on a second balloon out there, so it's catching on out there.
Oh, okay. I think that adds a certain element to the beauty of the flight this morning.
We'll have to talk to all of them to get that as well.
Right now what's happening is the pilots are getting any passengers that are going with them, crew members perhaps, into the basket. And it's just about time for us to let them get airborne. We would ask, if you're on the field, that you give the balloon crew plenty of room to pack up the gear and get out into the vehicles and give the teams chase, because that's very important. If need be, give them some room to move the vehicles if you're asked to clear a path. But before we get them started, I think, Art, we're going to do one more flicker burn.
We're going to get another all burn in here. We're going to get an all burn, pilots, an all burn. Here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All burn.
I'm not sure our radio is getting out to all the pilots.
Hear the announcers on our radio, so if they're doing glows, please translate over to us so we can hear you.
Yeah, just getting confirmation they're not hearing our radio this morning.
I'm going to switch radios is what
Change
I'm going to do.
radios? Okay, that might work.
All right, Dawn Patrol, let's try this radio and see if we can do an all burn. An all burn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All burn.
Well, it appears some of them are hearing us. It's a live show. What can we tell you,
There
folks?
you go.
So we're nearing what we think is going to be a very special moment for our Dawn Patrol Show team.
We're going to do another flicker burn, a flicker burn. Flicker burn. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Flicker burn.
There we go.
Dawn announced, the Dawn team. That's our flicker. We're watching for you at this point.
Dawn Patrol team, southernmost folks, please begin to move out.
So what should begin to happen in just a moment is the balloons are going airborne.
And what we've usually done is sent them off one at a time, or maybe one from one end, one from the other end.
This morning,
Rest of the Dawn Patrol team, go ahead and get ready and hot, please.
what we're going to attempt is a formation launch.
Yes. Getting hot means being buoyant so that you only need just a little more heat before you'll actually leave the ground.
Right. And
So
then
we're-
on a command, they'll all hopefully launch together. That's the idea this morning.
So they were all in a nice line there as they stood up.
Right.
So they're now moving a few of them out a little bit.
Getting just a little separation.
Kind of a front and back, if you will. We can see that happening.
Patrol team, is there anyone that needs more time to get hot? Tell me now.
So that's our team leader, Scott Vesley, talking with the members of the Dawn Patrol team, checking that everyone is buoyant when he says hot, that they are buoyant and ready to get airborne. Our Dawn Patrol show once again brought to you by Ridge 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park, proud sponsor for our 24th Dawn Patrol show.
We usually don't do formation launches. We don't usually do formation launches with balloons, but it's kind of become the thing. Let's see if we can try this.
Yeah.
Pilots have to be very cautious about what is going on and where they're flying.
Well, because as soon as they're airborne, then they're at the not at the mercy.
Get hot and ready, please.
But they are going to be impacted immediately by the wind. What wind there is, it seems fairly calm this morning, so it's not like they're going to be bumping into each other or anything like that. But they do have to be cautious anytime you're flying in a crowd of balloons. You have to be very aware of what's going on around you on all sides.
And with the formation, now I got to make sure I put about the same amount of heat in my balloon as you're doing in yours,
right.
So that we stay at that same
in
altitude.
formation. You stay at group at altitude rather than just everybody going shooting off wherever they want. Kind of like
team. All launch in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So here they go. Let's see how successful we are. Rick Jones just breaking the ground. It's a lot like when you do, one of the flights we can do in balloons is called a ribbon tie flight, where you tie a ribbon between two balloons. I've seen balloons do that carrying the American flag. Suspended between two balloons, and it's very tricky because each pilot has to judge what the other pilot's doing, and you put the same amount of heat to keep the same amount of lift so that you basically fly connected with each other.
And you tend to do that much more slowly.
Much more slowly than normal.
And give me an all burn in 3,
and we're doing
2, 1, all burn.
There are actually competitions, sort of an informal competition, where you do a ribbon tie and two balloons are tied together, and you try to stay tied together as long as you can before usually it's like a crepe paper streamer, so you try to see how long you can stay together before you break the tie.
In 3,
before it breaks.
1, all burn.
So Tim Lloyd has gone above the group, but look at all the rest of them.
Look at the others, all right there in a
there.
line. What a gorgeous shot that is. I got to get a picture of that.
Don 3, where are you going, buddy? Just go out, go out. Just go.
I've got the glare of the TV lights in my camera, unfortunately, but
Dawn Patrol team, give me an all burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn.
And then you got those out there with their turning beds, rotating their balloons in among the formation.
they're still doing a good job at staying.
They are doing a great job of staying together there.
Yeah.
Dawn Patrol team, give me a flicker in 3, 2, 1, flicker. Maintain a nice safe altitude, watch your partner. All burn. 3, 2, 1, all burn.
That sure looks pretty.
Yeah. I had our crew kill the stage lights for us for a few minutes just so we can
see it.
Otherwise, we've got a really, especially in the cameras, a terrible glare. If we can get one really good all burn with them, that's going to be a great photo. You can see it on the monitor, but what we had was a very bright glare.
All burn. In 3, 2, 1, all burn.
You are getting quite the show here this morning.
Really? This is the first, in 24 years of doing this show, this is the first time we've ever done this.
It is.
So it's quite unique.
Give me a flicker burn, team. 3, 2, 1, flicker.
Yeah.
Got to do another of those. I'm going to shoot a little video here. Because we have the perspective. I can see it on the monitor in front of us, but I can also see the balloons in real life out there. And if I can capture that all in video.
Give me an all burn, team. In 3,
There we go.
2, 1, all burn.
Wow. I love it. The marker lights, the balloons themselves all lighting up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them all together there.
Or just come up. That'll work too. All burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn. Watch yourself on 3.
And you've noticed, Glenn, that they are not moving
Flicker burn in 3, 2,
anywhere.
1, flicker.
So Tim Lloyd, who's kind of separated slightly from the group, even he's hanging over the field. So it's going to be a nice, slow, picture-perfect morning here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canada.
3, watch out.
And you are watching Balloon Fiesta live, powered by XTO, a subsidiary of Exxon
Give me an all
Mobil.
burn, team. Dawn 3, do not burn. 3, 2, 1, all burn.
So some of the instructions there about Dawn so-and-so don't
Everybody,
burn.
you guys look beautiful.
Just because you can't see up when you're the pilot.
Right.
So Scott's
Give me an all burn in
instructions are
3,
such
2, 1, all burn.
that there is someone right above him.
So he's telling him not to burn.
Not to
so that
burn,
he
to
doesn't
put heat in and
rise
rise into the other balloon.
into the other balloons, exactly.
Great job, team. I do not want anyone to land on the reservation today. Do not land on the reservation. Find a spot not on. All burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn.
Quick countdown sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
All burn in 3, 2, 1, all burn.
What an awesome show this morning. Our 24th Dawn Patrol show, which is presented by the Ridge 66 Casino Hotel and RV Park.
Dawn Patrol team, absolutely beautiful. All burn in 3, 2.
I think while we watch this, Art, and let the team kind of float around this morning, we have our intrepid reporter, Ruth Lynn, who's managed to sneak away from the gas balloon control center, command center, and is on field with us, and she has an interview with one of the balloon teams that flies the POW MIA balloon, if I heard correctly. Ruth, go ahead.
3, 2, 1, flicker.
Hi, you guys. I'm here this morning with the Freedom Flight hot air balloon team. Anastasia Sesnick is the crew chief, and we have Brian Weedle and a bunch of other people from around the country. You guys, everybody may not realize that these balloons would not be able to fly without the crew. So tell me a little bit about what a typical morning is for you.
Well, we get up way too early. No, not early enough. About 4 a.m., and then we make our way to the field. We typically always come to the Sid Cutter Pavilion and eat immediately and regroup, make sure everybody's here. Go back for that second breakfast. And then we'll typically mosey on over, today we didn't, to the pilot briefing so we can be on the same page as our pilot. We'll go back, we wait for him to make his official decision of whether or not we're going to fly. And then it's go time. We get our leather gloves on, we get the basket out, the envelope out, the fan out, we pull once we connect the whole basket to the envelope, we pull out the envelope. We make sure that the crown line's set. But also a big part of our job is crowd control. So making sure people don't step on the balloon and really respect the integrity of the equipment that we use, since it is a life-bearing equipment. You know, humans have to be in it. And then we just make sure that Luke, our pilot, is taken care of, you know, that he gets his chance to recheck everything, make sure all of the carabiners are tightened correctly, that he feels safe in the balloon, and we keep him well hydrated too.
And then it's time to chase. Brian, what's it like chasing with all of this traffic around here?
It's pretty darn exciting, I'll tell you what. You know, the balloon takes off and it just starts flying in whatever direction the wind's going, and you got to hunt it down. And, you know, that's our job. We hop right in the car, and, you know, you always obey the traffic laws, make sure you're doing everything safe, but also you got to quickly get to that balloon so that when it comes down for a landing, you know, we're there to catch it and pack it up and get it in the trailer nice and clean.
That's terrific. Now, you were telling me earlier that your balloon is handicapped accessible. Mm-hmm. Are you flying people here in Albuquerque who need that kind of help getting in and out?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been very exciting. So we have a chair, my father likes to call it the VIP chair, where somebody who's a wheelchair user can sit in. And it's just high enough that they can see everything that somebody that's standing in the basket can see. But we also have a harness in there, a 4-point harness, so that way when we land, they're nice and secure. So it's been a nice transition. There's a door in the front. You bring the wheelchair user right to that door, and then us crew help to put them in the chair. So it's been really exciting to bring a lot of wheelchair users and other people who maybe haven't had access to the wonderful sport of hot air ballooning, the joy of hot air ballooning, you know, inducting them as balloonatics, you know.
That's terrific. Now, this crew, you guys, has way too much fun. We have a singing trio here, and they have come up with all kinds of songs. They were singing one for me earlier. You can just do a verse, but they'll take popular songs like one from Eric Clapton and turn it into a ballooning song. So you guys hit it.
All right, started.
Go.
If you want to fly, you're gonna get so high. Propane.
That's great. Thanks, you guys, and we'll let this crew take off back to their balloons. Back to you, Glen and Art.
Boy, I hope that song doesn't get our broadcast flag for license violations.
Oh, yeah.
Great job. Great job.
That's like a fun group to be with.
It does. They can come through for me anytime.
You bet. You bet.
So our Dawn Patrol show continuing to do their formation flights. They're starting to break up the formation slightly now as they drift off and have a great flight this morning. Look for directions that are going to take them to a nice landing site. And actually those that have gone high now, I see, are starting to drift out to the northwest. And so heading across the river again, it may be another day of splash and dashes.
Might be.
And we had a bunch in the river yesterday. And
we did.
And we brought it to you live on
Absolutely.
Balloon Fiesta Live. Not only watching balloons do the splash and dash from our balloon cam, but our balloon cam did a splash and dash. So you got to experience that right here, complete with going maybe a couple inches too deep and getting water inside the basket and getting some feet wet, but all in great fun as well with our XTO As Time Flies balloon. And we plan to have the camera back in that balloon again today, so you'll be in the middle of a mass ascension with balloons all around you and be able to see what it's like to be up in a balloon in the middle of a mass ascension.
Great minds sometimes think alike. I just doing a little work on my Twitter feed here, sending out a quick video that I shot from the rooftop studio of the Dawn Patrol show this morning, and I just looked to see that Balloon Fiesta's official Twitter feed has also tweeted out a quick video of the Dawn Patrol show. Their video is of the team doing a flicker burn on the ground. Mine is a little bit after they were airborne. And if you want to check out my tweets relative to Balloon Fiesta here, you can always follow me on Twitter at Glen Moyer1. That's GLENMOYER at GLENMOYER1. And the unique thing about the video that I've posted is that you can see the balloons in the sky, and you can also see them on the monitor that we use here on our set to see what the cameras are showing us. So it's almost like split vision, but within the same field, within the same frame. So it's kind of cool. Beautiful shot, yeah.
Kathy Leindecker has just checked in on our Facebook feed. Of course, you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube at BalloonFiesta.com. Balloon Fiesta Live is on all of those places, as well as Channel 28 around the field, our Balloon Fiesta TV channel. But hi, Kathy. Wish you were here.
Absolutely. We miss Kathy as our stage manager. Nice to have Bobby with us again this morning, but
she's just checking in. She's doing double duty, so she gets a chance to come over and wave and say hi. But they've got her working, still selling park and ride tickets for the weekend to lots of folks. And I know that a few sites sold out this last weekend, few sites and time. If you're planning on coming out and getting park and ride tickets, there has been a change to park and ride this year. You can no longer buy tickets at the site. You must buy your park and ride tickets in advance and online. So you're planning on just coming out and showing up for Park and Ride, go online now, get those tickets for Park and Ride. There's lots of reports that Park and Ride has worked a whole lot better for us by putting this new system in place.
That's good. We should mention one more time before we say goodbye to the Dawn Patrol team that the show is presented by Route 66 Casino, Hotel, and RV Park. We thank them for their longtime sponsorship of our Dawn Patrol show. And now out on the balloon field, what you're beginning to see are the balloons that are inflating for the Krispy Kreme mini glow this morning. There's the Krispy Kreme balloon right there on the far left of the screen. And this will be a baker's dozen of balloons that are participating. And by that, we, of course, mean 13 balloons. They, the last couple of mornings, they've actually had nice hot Krispy Kreme donuts downstairs. In Sponsor Hospitality, where we get the privilege of having breakfast each morning. And yeah, hot donuts and a cold glass of chocolate milk. Dadgummit, I'm in heaven.
There you go. So as you mentioned, the Krispy Kreme donut there, Jeff Duff flying that one for us. The white one with the blue and red kind of zigzag. If that turns around, that would be the Farmers Insurance balloon with Rod Baca.
Yeah, Rod Baca flying that one.
The red, white, and blue balloon that's got vertical stripes standing up. That's high maintenance too. Keith Lutz is flying that one. Behind him, it's getting a little harder to see. Yellow with a little red patch on the side. The red patch is actually the outline of the state of New Mexico. He's flying a Visit the USA balloon. That's Eric Greenwood in Enchantment.
Then we have that silver balloon with the red hearts in it. It's not Hearts of Fire. We have two heart balloons here. That's Tim Taylor in D3.
He's one of the Dawn Patrol show.
Dawn Patrol balloon, yes.
And I think there's a helicopter on the backside. There's the front side of the Farmers Insurance.
And the backside of the backside of the Krispy Kreme balloon, yeah.
So if you see it from one side, you see Farmers, and from the other side, it's Krispy Kreme. The white cone on the left-hand side of the screen
big pylon.
Yeah, big pylon there is not only a great place to put the sponsor Isleta Casino Resort and the Fiesta logo, but it also serves a very good purpose here. And that is that our balloon pilots, as they come over the field for competition, have to be at least 75 feet above the ground until they get to the flagged off area. Then they can drop right down to the surface. So those are 75 feet tall, and it's a great indicator of a level of altitude that pilots need to be coming in at.
Right. Now this morning we don't do competition, though. Today we go back to our mass ascension format, beginning with Flight of the Nations, where one balloon will launch carrying the flag of their respective home nation, and we have 17 different countries that are represented. So that'll be the first thing to happen this morning, followed by the mass ascension of all of our balloons. As we watch the Heart balloon, the Cupid balloon coming up right there, you also see the Balloon Museum in the background. That's the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum, or just for short called Balloon Museum. And that is a world-class facility that if you're visiting Albuquerque and you've not been there, you definitely need to make it. Whether you're here during Balloon Fiesta, any time that you may find yourself here in Albuquerque, that's definitely a must-do destination. It is filled with historic aircraft. It of course, hosts the FAI, the Federation Aeronautique Internationale. Get it right.
That's why I just stick with FAI.
FAI, yeah. It's the Federation Aeronautique Internationale Hall of Fame, the International Ballooning Hall of Fame. We have a United States Hall of Fame, Ballooning Hall of Fame, at the Balloon Museum in Indianola, Iowa. But the international one is hosted here at the Albuquerque Balloon Museum, along with some other great exhibits. A lot of videos that my co-host here, Art Lloyd Jr., has either produced or in many cases was also voiced and starred in. He's quite the multimedia hero here in the Albuquerque market. And when it comes to ballooning especially.
Ballooning,
when
yes.
it comes to ballooning,
Yeah.
Either that or he's the only guy that doesn't know how to say no when somebody says, hey, could someone do a video for us about such and such? And Art goes, I will.
Well, I've stopped saying I will. You're right. I don't know how to say no. I know I can't.
Have to say no yet.
Yeah.
Years ago, in my many years that I've either been on the board of directors of the Balloon Federation of America or now about to begin 20 years as editor of Ballooning Magazine and working with the board, one of our board members, Nancy Griffin, she had a T-shirt made finally that says, I've learned to say no, because she was famous for volunteering for anything anybody needed. She would step up. And we all finally told her, Nancy, you got to slow down, lady, and give yourself some time for Nancy. And so she got herself a T-shirt. So I think maybe we need to get you one of those T-shirts that says, I've learned to say no. And then you just have to learn how to do it.
Well, yeah, and wear the shirt.
And wear the shirt, that's right.
Yeah.
Or just get a big T-shirt that says no.
So someone wants to know if the hot light is on the Krispy Kreme donut. So at this exact second, no, but Jeff will light that balloon up here shortly again, and we'll see it, and it will be on. Someone else is suggesting that Krispy Kreme get a shape. That would be a kind of an interesting balloon to have a donut-shaped balloon.
Well, there used to be, I think it was Uniroyal had a tire with a nail in it. So. So the shape of a donut, you would just would be virtually the same,
right?
Without the nail, of course. But it wouldn't be. So the general shape itself has been done. It would just be a matter of how do you get all that icing and sugar on it.
Yeah. Boy, I'd hate to be underneath it when it drips off.
Yeah, wouldn't you though? Yeah, that'd be a sticky situation,
Our good friend Benny Bose has joined us online as well. Good afternoon to Benny.
Good afternoon to Benny. Yeah, I know Ina Vanderkratz was telling us that when we go live, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon there, and she's off on a school run to pick up her kids. And I was just telling a friend of mine in Scotland this morning that she could watch us on TV, and I said when we go live at 6 in the morning here, but it's only. I said it was actually noon. I was off. It's actually 1 p.m. there because there's a 7-hour difference. We're in Mountain Time, and I'm used to the 6-hour difference. Between us and the UK, so my apologies.
I guess it's raining in Germany, too.
Is it raining in Germany this morning? Okay. I've been on my Facebook page for a moment because I was posting the same video that I put up on Twitter. I just stuck up on my Facebook page for my friends and family at home to see that I'm actually out here working, not just...
So we're actually starting to get just a little bit of light start to come up over the Sandias. The mountains that you see there, a lot brighter on the screen than it is here in person yet. There's our Krispy Kreme lineup of Krispy Kreme, our baker's dozen of balloons. Hey, in the truck, let's get that time lapse queued up, if you would, please. One of our official photographers who's out here put together a little time lapse video yesterday. We had a competition flight as well. Well, we sent some Dawn Patrol balloons off. Oh, there it goes already.
Good afternoon, Adam. Well, I can get a quick shout out there. He's checking in from the UK.
And so our entire 3 hours of Dawn Patrol and
look at this.
Mass Ascension and competition. We were on the air for 3 hours and some minutes yesterday, and pretty much this video is that 3 hours and 30 minutes.
That's awesome.
In about 30 seconds.
That's fun. Follow the bouncing balloon.
Yeah, I think we need to run it again. Can we run it again?
Let's re-rack that.
There we go. So here's the Dawn Patrol, up and away. And, of course, Greg Lindsay keeping his balloon right in front of us all day, at least through that. And now we're into the Mass Ascension. They're gone. Now it's time for competition.
And they'll start coming in from probably the right side of the screen.
Right side of the screen,
coming in from the east.
Drop in, and look at that. Look at that.
And look at them all floating to the south. The bottom left corner of your screen is where our rooftop studio is located. They all come down and land in front of us where we can't see anything.
Yeah.
I can't. You're down and fortunately this year you're down at the target, so we can continue to broadcast the competition. Whereas in past years we've been sitting up here going, we can't see.
Can't see anything.
We know that something's happening, but we just can't see it. So hard to do a broadcast when you can't see what you're supposed to be talking about. So now we have you down in the competition zone. This morning, though,
it was really hot and heavy down there yesterday,
it was,
too.
Yeah, and we watched Moyer Petrin, who is our defending 2-time champ, and he's really gung-ho about doing the first three-peat in Fiesta history, and he was really working hard to get to the target. Did not get the best result when it was all said and done, though he did score, but you can't say he didn't work for it yesterday.
No, but on Monday, he was the closest in our
he was
Memorial.
In the boat?
Yeah. I managed to track that down. The idea was you would fly in and drop your marker as close to the bow of the boat as possible without falling off the boat. 3 pilots managed to make that happen. So Moyer Petrin, as we just said, was the closest to the bow. In addition to a wonderful commemorative plate with the Sid Cutter Memorial on it, he wins $1,500. Blair Kaufman was the second closest, also inside the boat. He wins $1,000. And Tomas Hora, who was also in the boat, third closest, he wins $500. So cash in addition to bragging rights and points for the overall.
For the overall, which is more cash.
Yes.
Speaking of Tomas Hara, I had the chance to visit with him very briefly this morning downstairs having breakfast, and he is flying the Touchstone Energy balloon while Sherry is away flying gas. He had been flying. Good to know. He was flying her second balloon, G-Daddy, the Texas Twist balloon.
Right.
While Sherry was here doing flying
hot air
Touchstone in hot air, but now that she and Mark are away flying gas, Tomas has taken over flying for her, and so he'll be flying the Touchstone Energy Cooperative balloon today, and for as long as Sherry and Mark remain away.
And we talked about the overall competition and the big prizes there. Even on balloons are kind of put into a group or a task of flights there, and there is cash for whoever wins their group for that day.
Yeah, they do it by banner number, like the 0 to 99s, and then the 100s, the 200s, 300s, etc. And you also get the top 3, at least I believe we always did before, the top 3 in each flight of banner numbers also gets a nice medal.
Yeah. So the daily prizes, 5th place is $50, 4th place is 100, 100. 3rd place is 200, 2nd place is 300, 1st place gets 400.
Outstanding.
And that's across there are multiple groups of that taking place.
Right. Yeah, as they do that by banner number. So the 0 to 99s is one group, and then there's like the 100s, the 200s, the 300s, the 400s, to however many different groups that we have. So they get not only cash prizes, and maybe we do medals for the top 5 now, I'm not sure, but at one time I know, because I have a few at home. Very rare that I got a medal, but occasionally even a blind squirrel finds an acorn. And
every so often.
And I got a top 3 medal for a couple of tasks that I flew through the years here.
I never got that.
Another great shot of the
Cupid's Heart balloon.
Cupid's Heart balloon, but also the museum in the background there.
And one of those pylons.
And one of those pylons. So that's a 3-fer right there. You got 3 there's 3 items we could talk about in that single shot.
And the Sid Cutter Memorial is the building in the lower left.
So there's 4 things that significant elements of Balloon Fiesta we could be talking about as we look at that.
And actually, if we want to get really picky and nitpicky, kind of between the Sid Cutter Pavilion, right off the bottom of the balloon, you see these stripes. Those are actually blue and white, although they look black and white. That's the weather officials' tower.
Oh, okay.
So,
and then actually that
is that Cameron balloons?
The tent to the it looks like that's our balloon manufacturing row right there. It is those 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 little pointed tents, and then the big one with the great big kind of a hump roof in front of the museum. I think that's isn't that one of the official product tents? I believe. Where you can go and buy all of the official Balloon Fiesta merchandise?
No, or it would be the other way. That might be
one of the corporate tents then.
Yeah, I think it's one of the corporate ones.
Okay. Well, it was a good idea when I thought about it.
Yeah, there you go.
We try. So there is Tim Taylor as he landed out there, it looks like.
No, he's still moving, but he's very low, just over the north end of the field. There's that Visit USA banner that I see on the yellow balloon. On the right-hand side, you see, hey, thanks, Eric, for lighting it up.
Yeah.
You see the New Mexico outline in the red, and the banner's over the top of another one there. Oh, here we go, pulling a balloon out. Grab the bag and run with it. Stretch out the envelope.
And again, it's not nearly that light out yet, as you see on your monitors. Dina Lee commenting, hey, Glenn and Art, has Andrew dropped a marker on you yet? Y'all need a vacation. That's all relative to a discussion we had yesterday. We were teasing about Andrew Holly, this being the only event in the world that does that we're aware of that does live streaming, certainly to the extent that we do here, but that we thought we should be live streaming Andrew Holly's event, Sky Safari, at Longleat. So somehow there was a challenge for him to drop a marker on the rooftop studio, and if he did that, that meant that he was going to be paying to ship the entire production team over to England. I don't think that's going to happen. Andrew's a nice guy, but I don't think he's going to necessarily agree with our challenge, but it's a great idea.
All right, so I just heard on the radio we're running about 7 minutes behind on our Balloon of the Day and our Flight of the Nations. So because it's now 6:46, we should have been moving along. But the balloon and the shot we just saw there a minute ago was our Balloon Fiesta Live balloon.
Is your Facebook feed working? Because I'm getting an error saying an error loading. I don't know if it's just my phone, perhaps.
I'm still watching it. Yep, we're still there.
Okay, well, something's gone. Okay, I think my phone just refreshed. Yeah, there it goes. We're good.
We're always live here, Michelle Healy, Chief Launch Director, standing off to the side, trying to be her usual shy.
Okay, now that begs the question, why is the launch director here on the tower? On the rooftop studio. She came to see.
To watch and supervise and oversee.
We do have 8x10s and CDs that we sell afterwards. Oh, goodness.
We put together a pilot briefing, a video, back to all my video things that we do, that all the pilots have to see before they can fly here at Balloon Fiesta. And this year, we took Michelle and her assistant, Chris Padilla, out in amongst the balloons, set them all up, and let them do their part of the briefing with balloons in the background.
Oh, okay.
Which put a little extra challenge on them because, as you know, you can't kind of like, okay, take the balloon down and start over again type of thing. So that was great fun. And
I don't know if you've seen, while we have a few minutes here, I don't know if you've seen it, but I fly British Airways back and forth to the UK each summer. And, you know, you always have that pre-flight briefing that tells you about the safety belts and all that. They have a great one where they actually, it's set up like a casting call. They have, and it's all celebrities. And so the one guy is the director, and he's sitting there and he says, okay, now give me, really make me feel it. And there's somebody going, and to inflate your life vest, you blow into this and you do this. And it's really entertaining. And I can see us I can see you and the team out here doing the safety video for Balloon Fiesta in the same fashion.
So we need to keep them serious. There was a time 20 or 30 years ago that we probably got a little bit too funny, too comical, and the safety message may have gotten lost a little in there.
Yeah.
So we're trying to hit that nice, happy balance now, so that it's entertaining, yet very informative and very serious about the safety information.
That's the tone of the British Airways one, I think.
Well, that's what we need to hit.
It's that video that you always have to watch, and people just tune out; they go dead. Well, this at least keeps your attention because it's entertaining, and so you do, I guess, subliminally get the message about how the safety and what position to take in a crash landing, all those sorts of things that you're familiar with. But it's really well done. It's entertaining, and it just made me think of that because I actually look forward to seeing that video when I travel over to the UK in the summertime.
That speaks a lot when you look forward to seeing the safety briefing.
Well, either that or tells you the flight's long and boring.
Hey, Ruth Lind has caught up with another one of our balloon crews. Ruth? Wow.
Hi, you guys. I'm down here with the Lofty crew. And every year at Fiesta, we see some pretty wonderful costumes, and we caught up with these guys who all have Viking helmets on. Brian Flanley, tell us why.
A number of years ago on this day, October 9th, Leif Erikson Day, our pilot Jerry Graf, who's off screen at the moment, and if you saw him over there, he'd be, he's trying to disown us, but we're here anyway. Jerry won this balloon 3-4 years ago, which was the second balloon that he had won during Fiesta. So he's a 2-time balloon winner. And ever since October 9th, Leif Erikson Day, why not celebrate it? So,
And we even have a Viking horn. Who has the horn here, guys? Let's see if we can hear it.
Gotta go.
That's wonderful. Okay, say so long from the Lofty crew. Bye, guys.
We heard that horn all the way down here, even without the microphone.
Oh my goodness, they're having too much fun.
Oh, you know, that's really what it's all about, though, is having fun out here. It is a very social, very family-oriented type sport. It takes a group of people, and you're going to put some work together, but get a balloon up and down and packed up. But it's going to be great fun as well, and I think that's why people, when they come out and get that ride, they stay.
Well, and as long as we're giving a shout out to Leif Erikson Day, I'll just pass on this bit of trivia that I learned from a friend on Facebook this morning. Today is also National Fluffernutter Day. Now, Ruth Lind ought to know about this. Fluffernutter is a New England traditional sandwich, and it is peanut butter, white bread, and marshmallow fluff. It's not a PB&J, but it's peanut butter, white bread, and marshmallow fluff, and it's called a Fluffernutter. And I've been reading this article a friend of mine wrote, and apparently it is quite the New England tradition. And Ruth, of course, lives up in the New England area, so I don't know if she's familiar with Fluffernutters. Maybe we can find out a little later. But just a little trivia for you today, so we can celebrate. I wonder if Leif Erikson ever ate a Fluffernutter. Just a little trivia to brighten your day this morning, folks.
Checking on the radio here about what our timing might be. 5 minutes.
Sounds
is
like
what
5 minutes away.
5 minutes. A number of our other balloons are getting ready to stand up as well. So I think once we get through our national anthem, we're going to have a whole lot of balloons standing up, and then it's going to be I would like to say a fast and furious launch, but based on Dawn Patrol,
it might be
it's going to be a nice, slow, entertaining launch, mass ascension, Flight of the Nations balloons off, and then everyone else. It would be our Saint Jean de Roue. They'll be taking out the Canadian flag, I believe.
And that's a fairly new balloon from Saint Jean.
They have a couple of those that look like this. From this view, it's yellow. From the
other
other side, it's red.
And white.
Yeah,
red
well, you can
white.
see the white stripe and a little
stripe in
yeah,
between
a little bit,
right. Yeah.
And Tim Taylor can photobombing the backside with the red, white, and blue balloon. There's the red side with the white stripe. They have their own large balloon rally festival, usually in July, if I remember right.
You know, I went up there and flew. I'm trying to remember. It's been a few years ago now. But I think it was that. I think we may want to hold, if Ruth can hold Paulo until after we do the national anthem. I'm not sure we've got time to.
Yeah, we're about 3 minutes from the national anthem.
Yeah, so if why don't you, Truck, if you can tell Ruth, why don't we just stand by on Paulo, but we do want to introduce him. He is one of the latest two inductees into the International Ballooning Hall of Fame, and charming gentleman from Italy, so we definitely want to get him online, get him on air. Got a friend on Facebook who is tagging the Today Show, asking if they're covering the international ballooning race in Albuquerque and the gas balloon race, and mentions our coverage. So thank you for that.
Good deal.
Maybe we'll end up on Good Morning America or the Today Show.
I think NBC Nightly News was scheduled to be out here. I heard that they were planning that. I haven't heard that they actually made it yet or what nights they were coming. Have to check with our media group. You know, we end up with more media personnel here to cover this event than we actually have pilots.
That's true.
We will end up with close to 1,000 media folks from all over the world.
Good morning, Amanda Sabia. Amanda came out and visited us on the tower yesterday. She and Chris here with Spot the Wonder Bread balloon.
Got our Fiesta 2019 pins.
We've mentioned a couple of times that in 2021, when we celebrate the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, Wonder Bread will be celebrating its centenary.
There's that lofty crew and the Viking horns for Leif Erikson Day.
Somebody asking about the dates for Longleat's Sky Safari next year, and it's always the middle weekend of September, right around the 15th, 13, 14, 15, 14, 15, 16. But you can check their website or the Longleat Facebook page, and I'm sure they'll have the dates there. Fluffernutter here in New York. Peanut butter and marshmallow fluff cream. Been around since 1970. That's right, and today is a national fluff. He says Fluffernutter. The piece I read called it a fluff mutter, I thought, but I could be wrong. Because it makes sense because it's peanut butter, so probably a Fluffernutter. I got to have one of those sandwiches. I got to try that.
Maybe we could start calling those chunky clouds we saw yesterday.
They're not chunky, they're clumpy.
Clumpy.
Clumpy
yeah,
clouds.
Clumpy
Get
clouds.
it right.
Yeah.
We
don't have those today, anyway.
No, we don't have any clumpy clouds today, but that's my new word, clumpy clouds. I like that.
Actually, we have some very flat lenticular ones look like out there to the west.
Valerie Valperez is asking, what time should we get there in the morning?
And it's time now, ladies and gentlemen, for our national anthem, performed by Michelle Liberty.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All
Michelle
right.
Liberty singing the national anthem for us this morning, and Barney Watson taking the Cool Beans La Mesa RV balloon in the sky with the colors of the United States.
I think some people were. I was looking around to see where the balloon of the day was, because normally they launch from down near
By
the
the
stage.
stage.
But Cool Beans, Barney taking off, or Barney rather, taking off from down here at his usual launch site at the end of row A. This is the 11th year for Barney Watson to be flying here at Balloon Fiesta in Cool Beans. Somebody on Facebook asking, can we do a shout out to the ladies at the Lindstrand Balloon Factory? We can certainly do that.
Shout out.
Yeah. Of course, Phil Thompson and Lisa Kempner are here on site, but the ladies back at the factory working hard, I'm sure. And now we've got Ruth Lind with a very special interview. It was a great ceremony Friday evening of last week when we inducted 2 new members into the Fédération Aéronautique International Ballooning Hall of Fame, one of whom was the fantastic Paulo Bonanno, who is famous for burner construction. I don't want to steal too much of Ruth's thunder, so I'll be quiet. But he's a charming gentleman from Italy. So, Ruth, down to you.
Thank you. Yes, that was indeed a very special evening. I'm here with Paolo Bonanno and his lovely wife, Nikki. Paolo, you built your very first balloon in only 12 days. How did you do that?
No, this is because my job before is very complicated. For make a relax, with a friend, make one crazy challenge for make one balloon. At this time in Italy is not one balloon. I have no absolutely idea. I will start to look in the book, the physical setup, the decision. I will win the challenge. At this time, no school, nothing. I will flew for 2 years, we know any teacher for ballooning. Many times I flew in the summer, at midday, in the middle of the thermal. But this is ballooning. It's fantastic. It's fun.
Oh my goodness! So
It's crazy.
you taught yourself how to fly balloons.
Yes.
And then from there you went on to be the Italian national champion 7 years?
Yes, 7 times, and many times second place.
Oh my goodness. Well, you have developed so many wonderful pieces of equipment for the ballooning community. One that I always loved in my balloon was the Bonanno Quick Release. Can you tell us why you built that and how it works?
Yes, very simple. In our airport, our club, is one day is all the authority for safety, the national authority for safety, for ballooning, for director airport, etc. All the authority in the bar. I am in the balloon with the son of the director. At this time, connected by rope, it's a little windy. I give the crew, release now, because it's good time. The crew have lose the time, have a release in wrong moment, the basket go down, the ration, the bar with all the authority, with my t-shirt is completely green because the basket roll in the field in the ration. I have no power to lift, no? I have a cross the fence of the airport for 20 centimeters. In the middle of 2 poles, the flag pole, half meter each part, 50 centimeters over the roof, all the authority in front. Shit. I suppose that my return, my permission is destroyed. At my return, all the chief or safety chief, congratulations, you are in situation, you have made perfect. Okay, this is Sunday. Monday morning I will make a design, the quick release. Monday afternoon I have the first prototype. I have a try, I have a look, it's good. After this is 83. At this time is 200th anniversary of the first fly of Montgolfier, okay? It's the World Championship in Nantes. I will prepare 20 quick release for the pilot. The pilot look here, I will not make, I will know any result. I will put in the bag in the corner. But last fly in Nantes is a lot windy. Many pilots have destroyed the frame. Many pilots have not take off. 3 team Italian with a quick release. Ping, ping,
and now we all use them. Many of us use them.
Now is in competition, so you don't put a quick release, you have a penalty.
There you go. Well, you are probably best known for your burners. You are the king of balloon burners in the world, I think. And did that begin with the Chrysler? Yes. Did that begin with the Chrysler Transatlantic Balloon Challenge burner?
Yes, I am in Cameron factory for my job with Cameron. I understand noisy. I will look in. Is the engineer of Cameron can try one burner for the Chrysler race. I have a look the type of flame. My idea with my personal idea. If it is no good for fly at this level. I return in Italy. I have make one prototype. The camera will not make any order with me. I make one prototype, and the trip after 50 days I return in England. I show Don Cameron this type of flame. Don Cameron make a order. All the Chrysler is equipped with the my burner.
That was fantastic.
And after Steve Fawcett around the world, all the fly is with the my burner.
With your burner, and those flights were so amazing, and we are so grateful that you were able to contribute those burners to the sport. We need to go, but thank you so much, Paolo and Nikki. It's been lovely to chat with you, and we'll send it back upstairs to Glen and Art.
Thank you very much, Ruth and Paolo. Appreciate that conversation there. Our international balloon pilots in our Flight of the Nation is getting underway. We saw the balloon from France, the mostly blue with yellow, the La Hoy, and we've seen the Festival Global Leon Mexico. That's probably the wrong order, but that one is up away as well.
That is silver with the red and green and silver checks aboard the top. You can identify the balloons because most of them are carrying their flags of their home country.
There it is.
Far over to the right, one of the first balloons airborne, the black balloon that has the bus making the road trip around it is the balloon called Road Trip. And that is, I've been looking at my binoculars, so I took my glasses off, put those back on. Manure Kassam, flying for the first time here at Balloon Fiesta and representing Nairobi, the country of Kenya.
All right.
It may be the first time we've had a Kenyan balloon team here that I can recall.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Smurf is up. Smurf is Cohen Unternaut from Belgium. We've seen Smurf all week, but they are away.
One of the other the Gatineau balloons from or rather not Gatineau, Saint Jean sur Richelieu is away, and they of course are from Canada.
I saw another one up there from from India, Sangram Powwow. It's white. It's over on the right-hand side, just off to the right of Smurf. White equator with gray bands and then blue at the bottom and pink and blue at the top. I saw it on the screen earlier.
Now, how do I get back out of this to the list I was looking at?
Either hit list or go back to there's a big list button right there.
Yeah, I know, but how do I just go back?
Touch it. Touch list. I'll show you the exact ones you were looking at.
Oh, okay. All right, because I had all the international. Yeah, there we go. Looking at all the international balloons that are here.
Well, I was wondering about Dr. Pepper here, but I have forgotten that Dr. Pepper is actually being flown by Kevin Haynes from Bogota, Colombia.
Ah, so
as
he's one of our Flight of the Nations balloons.
Almost no wind at all right here for the first few hundred feet.
But then the winds are moving pretty much to the north, and for that reason this morning we are launching really in backwards order, I guess you would say, because typically we launch from the south end to the north, and this morning we're going to be launching off the north end first because the wind is taking the balloons out that direction, although there is a westerly component out toward Corrales, it looks like, which again is a good direction for us to go. There's plenty of open landing sites out there.
But they are our Flight of the Nations, our international pilots popping up. They tried to move them all kind of to the row K, but didn't happen to get them all in there. It got a little too packed, so many of them just taking off from their normal launch site. And then we have our Rainbow Riders balloons that will be launched away. I just heard from the folks at Rainbow Riders that their CEO, Scott Appleman, will be flying the Land's End balloon this morning, and he'll be taking the governor. So the governor of New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grissom, is here this morning. She'll be taking her flight in this Flight of the Nations.
Several times this morning we've seen already the Cupid's Heart balloon. It's one of the early ones up. They are here from Switzerland, so taking part in our Flight of the Nations, and that is Adrian Hyde, who is flying that balloon. That is, they're here for their 5th year at Balloon Fiesta in Cupid's Heart. That's that silver balloon we've seen a couple of times this morning. The big red hearts and the Cupid on the side of the balloon.
Remember when that one was new a few years ago?
Yeah.
Got lots of attention.
I wonder who the UK balloon is going to be, because, you know, we have the Sky Safari fleet here. Did you have that on your list?
Let me check.
And then, of course, we have the Palace Guard. What's that one's name? No, that's not Busby.
It's something like that.
Yeah. There he is. Hang on a second. I can tell you. Yeah, it is Busby and Tim Davis flying for the first time, and he is from Worcestershire. Not Worcestershire like Worcestershire sauce, but Worcester.
I
think that's right. Great Britain.
They don't have the UK on my list, although there are about 3 or 4 pilots on here that they didn't list the country.
Well, he is
I'm looking at those to see if, those. Oh, no, I'm talking about, you were back. I'm still on the who's flying the UK balloon.
Well, yeah, but I was about to say, Tim is from the UK. And then, of course, most of the pilots that are flying Andrew's Longleaf fleet are from the UK. So I was just curious, wondering. We have, in other words,
they probably had an arm wrestle.
We have a great many number of balloons here from the UK. That's why I was asking the question: who do we think would be flying?
And I checked the list, and they don't have one listed there, so they're still deciding. Maybe.
Well, maybe
it's been decided. I'm sure we just don't know.
Maybe they've Brexited from Balloon Fiesta.
That could be.
Oh goodness! Well, and we also have this balloon here, which is the Union Jack balloon. That is Grand Bretagne. And Peter George is the pilot there from Oxford in the United Kingdom. So that would be an appropriate balloon, since the whole balloon is essentially modeled after the Union Jack flag.
We saw Mr. Fish a moment ago. Mr. Fish, Rubens Calistian from Brazil. There he is again.
So Mr. Fish is one of our international Flight of the Nations balloons?
He is.
Okay.
And now I see Krispy Kreme in the air, Rod Baca and Farmers Insurance in the air. So now we are starting to launch our Krispy Kreme glow balloons. There goes Keith Lutz.
See, the Nature Valley balloon also airborne. It's that checkerboard rainbow checkered spiral kind of balloon. That's not a very good description, I understand, but it's the best I can do this morning.
So again, we're going to be doing a north to south launch. So our Rainbow Riders balloons are standing up all along the middle of the field. So we're going to have to kind of, Glenn, we're going to have to kind of watch our camera from the north end to be able to pick out what's happening from that side. There's offyourrocker.com flying rides as well. And a few minutes before that, or a few moments before, we saw one of the 2 Colorado State balloons. They don't qualify as an international balloon. But they are flying passengers as well for Rainbow Riders. There's the one of the Colorado balloons, and you can see the Rainbow Riders balloons all around it.
You know that, let me get back to my view here.
And powered by Trigas Propane, another one of our ride balloons. 360 some people get a ride every single day here through Rainbow Riders.
We have the Belgium balloon team in the air. The balloon is called Sky Star. It's royal blue with a black and white broken band, and then the rainbow primary colors around the center. It's off to the right, just over the east side of near Main Street, actually, right around the main stage. And it is piloted by Joe Sagers. I hope that's somewhat correct, Joe, flying here for the 21st year. And they are here from Greendonk, Belgium. So the Belgian team is up and airborne this morning.
When we do these north to south and Flight of the Nations, people kind of have to come up from different places.
Yeah.
And so I've just seen 2 of our Krispy Kreme flyers kind of just pop right up out of the middle of the balloons. And so it's a yellow one with an orange and black lightning bolt going through it. That's Morgan Chando. And below that, the red, white, blue balloon, actually kind of more red, blue, and silver. That's the captain, Matt Hurst from Missouri.
Okay. I've been using our Canon binoculars this morning. It helps us to see those flags that the teams are flying and then to identify what country they're from. Canon, of course, our presenting sponsor. And while you're here this week, if you're on site, their tent is a must-stop place because they have not only a display with all of the latest great Canon cameras and lenses, but binoculars. They'll take your own camera and go through it with you, teach you about some of the features you may not be familiar with. If your camera needs a good cleaning, you can drop it off and have them do that as well. Great place to go if you're a photographer of any sort and want to learn a bit more about photography.
Hey, before we get too busy in our mass ascension, which is about to truly get underway now that we've got our Dawn Patrol show, our Krispy Kreme, and our international pilots in the Flight of the Nations off and away, I'd like to tell you this is Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO, an ExxonMobil subsidiary. I'm Art Lloyd Jr. This is Glen Moyer.
Good morning.
Celebrating his 30th year here with us.
Yes, I used to have dark hair when I first started this.
And I was down there doing something else. 30
Yeah,
years
we didn't
ago.
even know each other 30 years
Yeah.
ago. It's
So, although, like we were talking last night, I do remember I was working the America's Challenge gas balloon race.
right. You were the
Came
media
up-
liaison.
I
Came up, talked with Tom Rutherford and I, my
Yep.
former partner, who was the original voice, and in my way of thinking, will always be the voice of Balloon Fiesta.
Well, he was working for KOB Radio as a marketing guy at the time.
Yeah.
And they were looking to see what they could do for their 50th anniversary of the radio station. They had heard that Sid Cutter had a hot air balloon, whatever that was. And so they contacted Sid and said, hey, can you do something with your balloon? And maybe you can bring a few friends over and a few more balloons. And Sid said, he was another guy who couldn't say no.
Yes,
And
he was.
so he said, well, yeah, I think we can get some. Why don't we see if we can make it the largest gathering of balloons? And so Sid actually contacted 21 pilots to bring their balloons here. Through some transportation and snowstorm issues, because this was in April, we ended up with 13 of them here, and the rest is history.
Absolutely. We were wondering about who was going to fly for the UK. We still don't know, but a bunch of the UK balloons are getting airborne in the form of the Longleat fleet of special shapes that Andrew Holly has brought to us.
Is that a menagerie?
I think it is a menagerie, not a fleet.
Yeah.
They are all animals, and that's because they represent Longleat, which is a wildlife safari park in the southwest of England, which hosts its very own fine Sky Safari ballooning event. In fact, it's up for an award as the top outdoor event in all of the UK. And so I'm quite proud to be associated with the event. And so we've all got our fingers crossed. We're shortlisted for the award, and I think it's well deserved. Hope that we win. That would be nice. But we have Adelaide, the koala bear, is airborne. That is Dave Baker who's flying that. His 24th year. He's from Thatcham in the United Kingdom. We also have, I think it was Puddles that got airborne first.
Yep.
And that is Chris Libacek from Alaska, who is flying Puddles.
Which is almost international.
Which is almost international. It's far enough away to almost be international.
That's the balloon from Thailand, if I remember
It is,
right.
yeah. Golden white with that golden lion or dragon on I think it's a lion that's on the side of the balloon. Just had a quick shot of that. But I saw several of the other...
is the name of that balloon.
What's the name of it?
Singa.
Okay. They have a wonderful balloon event over there, too. I can see another lion, and that is Simbaloo, the lion from Sky Safari that is inflated. And right alongside him is Splash, the other little penguin. Have not seen Tall Steve yet. Andrew's flying that. We also have... there's the cheetah. They're all kind of in a row down there. About 2 rows deep from where we're viewing at the south end. I see the cheetah. We also have the guinea pig here, and there's a whole lineup of 8 of them. They have quite a special pen, as a matter of fact. I've got to go track down Andrew and get my hands on it, but if you've seen it on Facebook or social media, the Sky Safari Menagerie, as we'll call it, Albuquerque pen is for sale over at Discover Balloons.
We could probably do something with fleet and menagerie and flying, I'm thinking here.
Well, we could end up with a menage a fleet, and I'm not sure that's where we want to go.
That's what I said. We're going to have to work through that and come up
Yeah.
with some clever phrase that we'll
Well, it's
use.
like a whole zoo. I mean, almost. It's a safari, you know.
It is.
It's the Longleat
Safari
Safari.
in the
Sky
sky.
Safari is here. That's why they call the event Sky Safari. I see Beelzebub down there as well, the new demon balloon that we have, and there's you can see just one little eyeball of Osito Bimbo looking at us, the Bimbo bear.
And there's a shot of the, right in the set. Well,
there's
your,
Beelzebub.
Yep. And we just saw the basket of one of the Rainbow Rider balloons taking off, as well as that Thai balloon Singa.
That mass of pink in front there is Doug Gant's balloon, When Pigs Fly, otherwise known as Hamlet.
It's a great shot with, how do you say the demon's name?
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
Yeah.
Beelzebub.
It's kind of like a
yeah, it
Beelzebub.
is. Beelzebub.
Yeah.
So our Thailand balloon with Nathias Thongdi piloting the legendary Thai lion balloon Singa.
If I could just figure out how to use
There's
my
Bimbo.
binoculars and keep my glasses on, it would be nice, because I can either see or I can't see.
Yeah.
I can see through the binoculars well, but if not with my glasses. I'm not sure why that's the case. But anyway.
Well, I need the glasses to read with, so I can
that's
slide them
problem.
down on the end of the nose, and then I can
well,
use the binoculars.
I suppose I could do that as well. I hadn't thought about it. There's a good shot of Osito Bimbo from Bimbo Bakeries. They are on site, of course, and Bimbo represents Bimbo Bakery, which is the largest bakery in the world. 70 years ago, it started down in Mexico. It is the parent company for a lot of brands that you're probably more familiar with, perhaps, in many parts of the country than the name Bimbo. For example, Sara Lee, Oro Wheat, Thomas, and several others. I don't have my notes out in front of me this morning, but always good to have Bimbo here. And you can actually go by their booth and sample some of their fine baked products.
So our Facebook folks are getting creative here. I see Dina says, it's Fiesta time again. We're listening to Art and Glen. Balloons will fly, balloons will glow. You tell us what we need to know so that we can all enjoy the show.
Oh, I got to save that.
Isn't that nice? Thank you very much, Dina. We appreciate that.
I don't have a way to say. Dina, you got to email that to us or post it over to our Facebook page or something.
Just remember that an hour and 20 minutes into the show, that's where the comment is.
Yeah, drop me a private message, Dina, on Facebook, and you can send that to me. Mark Fassan's watching again. Good morning, Mark. Mark, again, we met here years ago at Balloon Fiesta. He's a ballooning artist, and for years was the creator of our Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo posters.
And yes, Wells Fargo is a bank. Wells Fargo has been the sponsor of our Special Shapes Rodeo and Glowdeo in the past, and they are a bank. And they have 2 regular shaped balloons here, and then on special shaped days and sometimes on mass ascensions, we have center stage, a special shaped stage that is the Wells Fargo coach. Actually, that whole bank thing goes back a long ways through a number of incarnations and name changes of banks.
Yeah, it was United New Mexico Bank at one time.
And then Norwest. Wells Fargo bought them out.
And of course, in fact, I guess I'll let you in on a little secret. I have years ago, when it was, I think it was Norwest Banks, kind of the middle incarnation.
Right.
They did, they had their 2 balloons, Miss Penny and Little Buck, and they had a savings program for children called When Pigs Fly. This was before Doug did his balloon. And they had Miss Penny, and they did these great big porcelain piggy banks.
I remember those.
Tom Rutherford and I, my partner then, we got one of those banks, and I've had it all these years. This goes 10 years or more, it goes back that far. And I've been putting nothing but pennies in it for years and years and years and years. And it's not quite full. And my intention is, in 2 years, for the 50th anniversary, I'm going to bring that bank back out here. It'll be full of pennies, I hope. It's pretty full now. I'll probably need help to lift it. But I know there's a penny charity that does work here in Albuquerque. So my intention is to bring the bank back, and we'll go to Wells Fargo, who is the bank now, crack it open, count the pennies, and I'm hoping I can talk the bank into matching whatever the amount is in my bank, and we'll donate that to charity here at Balloon Fiesta.
So my friend Cindy has just sent me a screenshot of our show with the comment below it, the poem that Dina wrote. Yeah.
Oh, you got to share that with me.
I'll share that with you here in just a little bit. Thank you very much, Cindy. Appreciate that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. We have got the greatest folks watching us and tuning in on Facebook.
We do.
So, yeah.
A lot of balloonists are actually on the Facebook feed, and they're answering questions other people are posting before we see them. And we can do shout-outs and we can interact with you some of the time, but we can't spend our entire time doing that. So it's great that we have such a great audience out there that are helping each other out there, answering questions and sharing information about. I saw a comment about someone saying we have a balloon festival up here in Battle Creek. They do indeed. A very fine balloon event in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Great shot of Osito Bimbo now in the air. Bill Baker flying for
And
us.
if you pan up just, or tilt up just above him, you will see the beautiful Panther balloon, which is solid black, but has these piercing golden yellow eyes. There he is. You see the back of him there. Hopefully he'll spin around at some point. You can see the front. Who'd have thought that a solid black balloon, other than perhaps Darth Vader, could be as exciting? But I absolutely adore this balloon. It's one of the newer balloons of the Longleaf fleet.
And it's a great job on his eyes, especially.
Yeah, they really did. It's just, there he comes. He's turning around. If we can hang with that shot for just a few more seconds, maybe he'll get completely
I
turned
also
around.
love the way Andrew goes after the registration numbers there. So G, of course, for Great Britain, and then PAW, P-A-W-W.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, now
you
look at
that
those
yeah.
eyes, boy. It looks like
Yeah.
he's just really, and in the sunlight, it is just gorgeous. That's one of my new favorite balloons. I love that. Of course, I'm a cat person, so what can I tell you? There's one of those. Someone asked earlier this week, were there clown balloons here? And there are. There's one of them right there.
I was looking for that one.
Oh, Cymbaloo's. Cymbaloo's up. There is Cymbaloo on our screen right now. That's the original balloon for, well, actually followed the penguins for Longleat.
But he was kind of the first one that was for the Sky
He was
Safari
the first,
park,
yeah,
right?
the first real Sky Safari balloon for Longleat for their safari park, because the park began 53 years ago now when lions were brought to Longleat to create the safari park, and it was the first international safari park established outside of the continent of Africa, the first time lions had been taken outside of the continent of Africa. And flying Cymbaloo is Paul Bonner, who is from Basingstoke in the United Kingdom. I love the names of places over there.
Yes.
And so Cymbaloo is airborne, part of our menagerie from Longleat. Somebody was commenting the other day that Andrew Holly is probably the most talked about pilot, and it's because he has the most balloons here. There are 8 total special shape balloons here from the Longleat menagerie, as it were. There goes the Cannon balloon, our presenting sponsor. It is the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Cannon, and Johnny Petrin, 2-time world champion, multiple-time national champion, is doing the piloting for Cannon balloons this year, as always.
As we predicted, a nice, slow
launch.
Gentle launch.
Yeah, might as well settle in. We're going to be here for a while this morning. Enjoying a little hot chocolate right now, as a matter of fact.
There you go. And just kind of up and out to the northwest.
Yeah,
over the river.
No sign of a box or anything this morning. It's just going to be an up and away, or an up and away.
It's kind of up away. In fact, I'm looking out there to the river, and I'm already seeing balloons that took off. I see Morgan Chando and Keith Lutz. Just see the tops of their balloons, so they're
just
dropping
over the trees,
into the river.
They're dropping in.
Oh, there's the Farmer's Insurance balloon from Rod Baca as well. Amazing, I can spot all those out that far. And just see the tops of the balloons,
especially
so you know they're coming down into the river.
Right now, because the sun is still behind the Sandias, so it's not that bright looking out that way. And of course, when I look out that way, I've got a studio light looking in my face. What are you doing down there? Come on up, buddy. I wondered why we hadn't seen Tall Steve, but suddenly we know why. Andrew Holly is downstairs and he's on his way up. We're going to have a guest here on the set in just a few minutes, just to give the truck a heads up.
And I have switched the cable up here. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. So we've fired up the old hand mic.
All the things the executive producer has to do. Monitor the radios.
Glad it's your job.
Yeah,
monitor the radios. Make sure all the connections are working. Keep track of all the staff.
Yeah.
Keep up with our 2 golf carts. And who has the keys? Don't forget to let me give you back the key, by the way.
Thanks. I got in one of our carts yesterday.
Wait, I gave it to you this morning because you drove me in this morning.
Yes, actually I do have
it.
it.
Okay, good. You've got the key. All right, good. We've already done that.
There's a great shot inside our. There they are. There's our production team. There's our trailer. There's Gary, our engineer, Lucy. Up in front, Stephen, our director. Yeah, there we go. Windfire Productions doing a great job for us again this year here on Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO.
So if we can come up onto the set for a minute, we've been joined by a special guest, my good friend, Mr. Andrew Holly, who is here from the United Kingdom and brought to us that great fleet from Sky Safari.
The menagerie fleet.
Yeah. So, Truck, are we going to come up here for a minute or not? Maybe not. Yes? No?
There we
are. Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, good morning, Andrew. How are you?
Good morning, Glenn. We're tired, but we're good. Thank you.
And we need to get the hand mic up because I'm not hearing that. I think. We'll try that again.
Good morning. How you doing?
There we go. That's better. That's better. And introduce your other buddy here.
Well, this is... Go ahead.
Well, everybody calls me Jeremy, but my name is Johnny.
Oh, and by the way, Johnny, I need the key to my trailer lock too before we get separated this week. Don't go home without it. You know, I won't be able to haul that basket and tanks back home. So, Andrew, you're here with 8 different special shapes. Why in the world do you bring so many balloons to Balloon Fiesta?
Well, actually, we have 9.
Okay.
9. So we have Puddles and Splash penguins. We have Tall Steve, and we have a lion, a koala, a cheetah,
a panther,
a guinea pig, a panther, and a wolf.
And a wolf.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So there's 9 here this year, this is our Sky Safari event, which is at Longleat in England, and where we're flying. There's a big house in the safari park, and obviously everyone likes to see them, and we love bringing them here. We now have the all lined up in a row. The launch zebras are great. They're working around us so we can get those out every morning in front of the ride balloons. We get everybody out in one hit. So it's fabulous.
Well, and you also have a pin out now that you just announced on social media that has all of the 9 balloons across it with the Sky Safari and the New Mexico flag, I think, on the side of the balloon, or the Zia. And that's available here at Balloon Fiesta Park as well.
It is, yeah. You need to go to Discover Balloons for that, which is down on Concession Row, or you can go to the website to get one as well, which is the hotair.store. We have a limited supply of those. And thanks for mentioning that. They're almost already gone.
Okay, well, you can never argue with a sellout. That's always great. So you also hold the distinction of having flown all 50 states. You're the only pilot to ever fly a balloon in all 50 states. And I was part of the team. Thank you for that. That accomplished that. And you earned a Guinness Book of World Records stature for that. You did all 50 states in how many days?
Well, the 50 states we did in 43 days. The 48 we did in 33 days, and that was the tougher of the two because that was a lot of driving. When we finished that, we had breakfast, and Johnny here standing next to me, he helped me with a lot of that. We had breakfast that morning when we finished the 48, and it was a should we, shouldn't we drive to Alaska. And Chris Lebchuk, who's out there in Puddles right now, he's from Alaska. We connected up with him, and he gave us all the help we needed, so we simply drove to Alaska. And we did Alaska, and then we put everything on a plane, flew it down to Hawaii, and stopped the clock at 43 days for 50 states.
And actually, I was watching the flight from at home in Louisiana in my office, and the flight in Hawaii. You actually took off from a small airport there and flew a box. What a way to finish up a world record like that.
We did. At the time, there were quite a few people who didn't believe that we were really doing that, because normally you have the trade winds down there at that time of year.
Yeah.
And to get one flight away at all, and to get it on the morning that we needed it was just astonishing luck. But then, we took off, and I was flying with Joe Zavada, who, funnily enough, I just bumped into on the launch field. He's just down here in front of you. And Joe came over to fly Hawaii with me, and we took off, and we had thousands of people watching the live tracking online. And we climbed up, hoping to just stay away from the volcano, and it just kept turning, and it just kept turning. And then it turned all the way back, and we suddenly were flying backwards, and we knew what that meant. And we just kind of gave each other a look that said, this is almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
And we flew backwards across the airfield, came back down, and landed literally about 3 feet from where we'd taken off from, it couldn't have been a more perfect end.
Well, and we've been giving you a hard time up here because you're famous for buzzing us here on the rooftop studio. You've flown here a number of years now. What's been your most outstanding flight? Here at Fiesta, I'm talking about.
I don't know if I can pick one outstanding flight, because the Fiesta is so special because we're always boxing around. And those mornings where we go around, and we're always looking for you, Glenn. And
see, it is you they're looking for. I'm in the clear here.
Obviously,
I don't know if you've heard our challenge. We've actually challenged you to drop a marker here on us, but if you do, you have to fly the whole production team over to Longleat so we can do live streaming at Sky Safari.
Okay, here's the thing. If you get permission from me, from the boys in red over there, to drop a marker on you, we'll drop a marker on you. I'm happy to do that.
We'll work on that.
You get us permission.
We'll work on that. And of course, we know my niece, your lovely daughter, Roma, is at home watching, and I did a shout out to her, but I think maybe you and I both should say hi to Roma.
She's watching right now. I don't know if she can see us, but they're watching right home right now.
There we go.
Hi, Roma.
Hi, Roma.
Hi, Jennifer.
Yeah, wish you were here.
And they sent me some amazing pictures and videos. She's just old enough to recognize the balloons that we fly.
I saw her jumping up and screaming when she saw Daddy.
Knows what Dada's balloon is, and she's waving at it. And I wasn't expecting that. The first morning, what was it, Sunday morning we landed. I landed and got those pictures, and
yeah,
put
pure
tears in my
greeting,
eyes.
I'm
It was
sure.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sad she's not here too, but you know, she is a born explorer, and all she wants to do is run and explore. So,
Well, she has her own hashtag, roam around the world.
Absolutely, roam around the world, and she's been to, you know, she's already, I think, been to about 15, 20 states naturally, and quite a few, like 10, 11, 12 countries or something. So, yeah, she has mom and dad's bug for exploring, for sure.
Well, outstanding. Well, thanks for coming up and talking with us this morning, and thanks for bringing us such an amazing fleet of balloons. We're enjoying all of them.
Thanks, Glenn. It's really, really nice to be able to have them here because the crowd love them, and you know, it's not a chore. You know, I mean, taking off and we get that crowd, just that huge roar when we get these animals in the air. It's fantastic. So yeah. Thanks
Have a
very
good
much.
week, the rest of the good week,
Thanks,
and
Glenn.
I
Thanks,
need
Art.
one of those
You
pins
betcha.
before you leave, by the
We'll
way.
find you one.
Okay,
The
very
folks
good.
on Facebook are cheering you on dropping that marker here on the rooftop studio.
Well, we need to speak to Sam Parks, who's standing right there looking at us in a stern way.
We can probably make that happen.
We'll figure it out.
We have connections. So, thanks guys for coming up. Good to see y'all. Okay, always enjoy everything.
Thanks, Johnny. Good to see you. Jeremy, or is it Johnny? I figure we call you which? Jeremy. Okay.
Yeah. His name was Johnny, but we call him Jeremy.
No, it's Jeremy. We call him Johnny, or one of the two.
Either way.
We're already confused.
Hey, so the sun has hit the balloons here on the field.
It has
and,
indeed.
Everything has popped. We continue with our mass ascension here on Flight of the Nations Day. And just a nice little drift up and away. There's our Desert Viking balloon on the screen.
There's Chris Liebachuk in puddles. We were just talking about him, one of the long leap balloons.
And just a nice, and it is a launch from the north to the south today.
Yeah.
So balloons are just kind of taking off from the other end, and they're getting closer to us. Pretty soon they'll be this way.
There goes the Cheetah from Long Lead, and right behind it is the balloon team that Ruth had an interview with earlier this morning that flies the POW MIA balloon.
And I think, did we?
I think Ruth
has
has
to the truck. Did we hear that Ruth
I
has?
think Ruth has
an
another
interview for us?
another guest.
She caught up with Jennifer Garcia.
Yeah.
She is the pilot coordinator for Balloon Fiesta here. So Ruth, take it away.
Hi, you guys. Yes, I'm here with Jennifer Garcia, who is the Associate Balloon Director, Event Director here. And Jennifer, as you said, handles all of the pilot registrations for both hot air and gas balloons, which is a huge job. Jennifer, when do you start getting ready for Fiesta?
Probably in January of each year. March, we open the pilot application, and then we start our approval process, and then we start our gift selection and jackets and all of the fun stuff pilots love to come and get every year.
When you talk about the approval process, what does that involve?
A lot of the approval process involves how many hours does a pilot fly every year, how many years have they been participating in Balloon Fiesta, as well as what size balloon are they bringing? Are they bringing a shape? Where are they from? Countries. We're definitely on a big push for more international pilots.
How is the registration process different for the gas balloons than for the hot air balloons?
Gas balloons are definitely different, we all know, and had a wonderful launch this past Monday. And so what happens is the registration is a little bit different because they've got different paperwork. They have to have all originals with them because, of course, they're going into a foreign country most likely, even though they might be our neighboring borders. But they have to bring all their paperwork, and you're speaking in, it's a different excitement for them than it is for hot air because they're only a short flight and then they're gone.
That's true. Now, when the pilots send their registrations in, do they all send everything they need in correctly the first time, or do you have more work to do?
I definitely have more work to do. On average, each pilot has to submit 8 pieces of documentation to me, and I hope that they're valid, even though we asked that they're valid through Fiesta. Most of them are not. So they have to resend them, and I have to verify each document. And if they're not verified, they must visit with our friendly FAA officials on site.
And the foreign pilots?
The foreign pilots, we are at the point now where we make them visit with our FAA just to make sure everybody's in good standing in their foreign country.
Well, Jennifer, you have a huge job. You do it so well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Back to you, Glen and Art.
Jennifer's office at Balloon Fiesta is right next door to mine, and I can't tell you the hours and the work and the communication. She, I think, knows all of these people personally because of all the contacts that go on back and forth about getting all of those pieces of paper electronically verified photos.
Right.
People have balloons that I'm going to fly this balloon. In fact, I was talking with John Wilson, one of our pilots, last night. He registered a balloon 2 weeks ago. It failed its annual inspection. So now 2 weeks ago, he's changing out which balloon he's going to be flying here. And then he told me that the one he changed out for, that one's having problems too. So he's looking to change out for a third balloon. Which is why sometimes we can't figure out who's flying what balloon.
Exactly.
Or,
or sometimes we
or
put
what
the
that
wrong
balloon
pilot,
is.
in the right balloon, etc. Hey, it's Flight of the Nations Day, and I have a quick message from my good friend Malcolm White and Pauline Baker over in Ireland. I spent a wonderful day with them just last month over in Ireland. And Malcolm says, on Flight of the Nations morning, please give a shout out to Mark O'Neill, who is flying the Black Sundance Rides balloon. We are currently in Dublin at his grandfather, Dave Hooper's funeral. Dave was one of the few pilots at the 1973 Balloon Fiesta, and Mark is Ireland's Flight of the Nations representative there this year. So a shout out to Mark O'Neill, who is, again, flying the Black Sundance balloon with Rainbow Riders, and is also the representative for Ireland in our Flight of the Nations. So thank you, Malcolm, for sending that info along. We appreciate that.
I saw a number of the Sundance balloons. I'm not sure I saw the black one, but I saw a number of those. Let's see, there's Admiral Nelson's there. There's the Fiesta balloon. I was going to check and see who's flying that today. The Fiesta balloon, basically a club balloon, therefore multiple pilots are allowed to fly that balloon. Today being Wednesday, that's going to be Ray Bear, who's on the board of directors. At least the Fiesta folks and Smokey Bear have given me a list of who might be flying that balloon that particular day.
Yeah.
So,
someone on Facebook was asking where can they find the pin, reference to the Longleat Safari Menagerie, as we're calling it, pin. They are on sale here on the field at Discover Balloons, and online. There is a web, go to exclusive ballooning. I think it's exclusiveballooning.com. I should have gotten Andrew to specify that. Just Google exclusive ballooning in the UK, and you'll find their website, and they have an online store, and I believe they're on sale there, but they have very limited supply, and they are almost sold out.
We've been talking about the pattern. We're launching from the north end of the field to the south because the balloons are drifting to the north right here at the surface, and then been making this left hook, if you will, this left turn at Albuquerque. Out to Rio Rancho, but we're not going to get that shot probably, but look way up high off to the right over there, Glenn.
Oh my goodness.
Someone has gone very high and found a way to
get east. Yeah, headed toward the Sandias.
So there is some steerage up there if this were a competition day.
But it's very high. He's got to be, what, 7,000, 8,000 feet probably?
Yep.
At least, maybe
Which
higher.
Which of course only puts him about 25
2,000 or 3,000 feet off
above
the ground.
Right,
right. Yeah, Victoria Silva asking what time does competition start today? There is no competition today, Victoria. Midweek we do a mass ascension on Wednesdays because it's Flight of the Nations Day. We do competition Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday.
They usually
competition will resume tomorrow.
Yeah, they announce a target for mass ascension Wednesday for today. It's kind of its own little competition. It's got its own prizes. It does not count.
Right, it doesn't count toward the overall. So it's not fair to say there is no competition, but it's not the competition toward the overall championship.
Exactly.
And that's what I was referencing.
Exactly. It's kind of one of those, hey, you're up there, and if you go by this X, throw your marker on it.
Oh, and someone has posted the link to the Hot Air store online, which is where you can buy the Longleat pin. So if you're looking for that, go to our Facebook page and then scroll through the comments, and you'll find the link to the store there.
Perfect.
Hoping they have some left because I definitely need one of those.
He said he'd get you one.
I'm trusting that my friend Andrew will take care of me.
Yes.
And then I guess we have to have a conversation with with Sam and Henry and Maury about getting permission for Andrew to attempt to put a marker here on the rooftop studio.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have to be explaining why he's dropping a marker well outside the target zone.
Exactly.
And get possibly on a non-competition day as well.
Yeah.
We just saw Saxon, one of our special shapes that's been here for a couple of years now, actually brand new last year. And
there's Cynthia Seal, one of the special shapes we've seen.
Well, we're finally getting to our end of the field.
Yes, we are. We're coming to the south end of the field where we're located
Saxon
now.
again. From Brazil.
There's Saxon. Yeah.
Louise Esses.
big old saxophone.
The pilot.
Also in the center of the field is the Hearts of Fire balloon. I've told the story once already this year, where some years ago I was an avid amateur photographer, still am, and came out to Balloon Fiesta. I think it was 1984, my first trip out here, and took a picture of that balloon. It may have been an earlier version of it, but took a picture of that balloon against a nice blue sky, ended up selling it, made a whopping $50. I sold it to a postcard company in Plano, Texas.
Well, that took you far.
Yeah, it did, and I didn't even buy the gas to get me out to Albuquerque, and I think they're probably still selling that postcard. I think you could probably still find it if you look hard enough for it.
There you
Occasionally,
go.
I've found actually on eBay some of the early, I used to sell quite a few pictures to that particular postcard company that were balloon pictures, because there was a lot of ballooning in Plano, where there still is. It's known as the ballooning capital of Texas, depending on the battle between them and Longview, the great Texas balloon race. But so this particular postcard company bought a lot of my pictures to make postcards out of them, and paid me $50 a postcard, and or a picture rather, and that was one of the very first ones I ever sold. So. And occasionally they do turn up on eBay for sale. I've found one or two there.
And you buy them all?
I do. I buy, well,
with
not
the
all,
$50 you made.
But if I don't have that particular card anymore, if I've lost it through the years, and I've lost many of them, I sometimes do pick them up. And I had one gentleman who actually found my original balloon pin, the first one that I ever did. It was, it said Glen Moyer photojournalist, because it was when I was working at Balloon Life and before I had a balloon, and so it was kind of a generic pin that I did.
Yeah.
It had an old box camera on a tripod on one end with a rainbow coming out the lens and going up the side of a black balloon. And someone found one of those in a collection of pins that was sold by someone had died.
Yeah.
And their wife sold off the collection of balloon pins, and that pin was there. And they were kind enough to get in touch with me and get me that pin.
Oh, nice.
So that was my very first. And I still have a jacket at home that I had a patch of that pin made, and I still have the jacket. Now I have the pin to go with it. So, and that goes back well into about 1980, probably 1981 or 82, when I first moved to Plano, Texas at the time. So, yeah.
Always nice to see that stuff come back around.
Yeah, it's interesting to catch up with your past sometimes.
So I'm looking at the back side of one of our shapes there, and now we've gone to Lottie Dottie. And right to the right side of the screen here, there's our two Fractal printed balloons. So these balloons have the fractal patterns, that infinite mathematical formula. It repeats itself over and over and over again. The one on the right that is mostly orange, Fibonacci. The one on the left, which is mostly blue, Infinitude. All of that pattern with billions, I forgot the number, more than 1 billion pixels, actually printed on the fabric and then sewn into the balloon by Kubicek, into a balloon shape by Kubicek. And Lottie Dottie checking out the Fractal balloons there.
I was waiting to see you're going to do the Lottie Dottie Da.
No, I did that yesterday.
You did yesterday, okay.
A few minutes ago we had a great shot looking up inside Cynthia Seal from our balloon cam on the field. It's hanging out with our XTO balloon camera for Balloon Fiesta Live. They gave us a great shot right up in the inside of Cynthia Seal, but now we're actually starting to inflate the balloons here on row 1. That orange and white that we're seeing that's being cold inflated seems to be I think that's Anton, our gas mechanic. One of the favorites that always shows up here at the field is the mounted patrol units that are out here.
Yes.
And Ruth Lind has managed to find her way to them.
Oh,
Ruth?
wow.
Yes, I have Officer Chuck Breeden here with me from the Albuquerque Police Department Mounted Unit. And Chuck was telling me earlier that he actually trained with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Tell us about that a little bit.
It's a great experience for me. It's one of the few units in the department that gets to travel out of country to do some training. They just have to get us there. Our CMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Unit, provides all the training for free. So I did get to ride with the Queen's horses and train with the Queen's horses. It's a 200-year tradition. And it was a great honor to be able to represent the city of Albuquerque and do that with them. So it was.
And where does that training take place?
Up in Ottawa. the capital of Canada. So it really great experience. I had never been out of country, and the people up there were fantastic and just opened their arms to us. And it was just a really great experience. I got to ride through the Capitol, through all the diplomatic homes on their horses, and wear my uniform up there, and represent Albuquerque.
That's wonderful. And tell us a little bit about being here on the field. First of all, what kinds of horses these are, and the work that you do during Balloon Fiesta.
So these are all draft horses. We have mainly Percheron draft horses. We have one Belgian and one Shire Thoroughbred Cross. Their demeanors are nice and calm, and they are an easier breed to train, but their size really helps us be visible out here. And we help clear the field during the competition, and then we go around and do the contacts and do the public relations with internationally, because we meet people from all around the world and make those connections, and it's just a wonderful event to be able to represent the city once again and do that for our community.
You do such a wonderful job, and we have Sergeant Ivy up here, who is the sergeant in charge of this unit. Thank you all so much for your service. We really appreciate everything you do here at Fiesta. Glen and Art, back to you.
Thanks, Ruth. And they also have a very fine balloon pin that they sell every year, and as I recall, proceeds from the sales actually go to help support the Mounted Patrol unit. They are a great service group that is out here every year at Balloon Fiesta, and always fun to catch up with if you can while you're out on the field. They're out usually long after the balloons have launched, so you don't have to worry about missing them. So get a chance to go by. You can take your pictures with them and the horses, and as I said, the horses' demeanor is very calm. They're really a great unit. High overhead a few moments ago, Peter George took off in that Union Jack balloon we were talking about earlier. Cynthia Seal is now, there you see her, peeking up over the tops of the balloons, inflating in front of us now. And I love the balloon-shaped reflections in the pupils of Cynthia Seal, one of our favorite special shapes that has been here all week long. Just to the right of Cynthia, our right, stage, I get confused, that's big stage left, I think, is the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives balloon, which is the balloon and the whole fleet program operated by Sherry Edwards-White, but she's away in the gas balloon flight right now. And so Thomas Hora from Germany is sitting in, and had a chance to have a nice conversation with Thomas this morning. He and I met many years ago, back actually in the probably the mid-90s, when I was on the board of directors of the Balloon Federation of America, and Tomas was here at Balloon Fiesta. He was a younger man then, as we both were, but he came up and talked with us about these this thing called balloon camps that they were doing over in Germany to introduce youth to the sport of ballooning. There's a shot of the Touchstone balloon in that wide shot there. And he was in charge of that, and he made such an impression on us at the time that the Balloon Federation of America began looking into, and now for several years has been running multiple summer camps for youth. They are week-long camps where teenagers, I forget the definite age group, so I won't say that unless I say something wrong. You can find out the details on our website at bfa.net. But week-long camps spread around the country where kids can go and learn about the sport of ballooning, get involved. And the longtime director of our youth program, Mike Schrum, who I helped bring into ballooning. I'm quite proud of that. Mike started out crewing for me. Yeah, when I was living in Longview, Texas, and working at Thundering Colt Balloons, Mike was dating our office manager at the time, and he started coming out and crewing for me. And then has certainly since then gotten very heavily involved in ballooning. And he has been our youth chairman for quite some years, but he's finally decided to retire and move on to some other challenges, and was received a nice award from the BFA for his efforts. I believe he got one of Sherry's President's Awards last Sunday. So congratulations, Mike. Thank you for a job well done. And if you have youth that are interested in ballooning, get onto the website www.bfa.net, and you can check out information about the Balloon Federation's youth balloon camps that we hold each summer. And Tomas Hora was the gentleman who sort of inspired all of that here.
I'm getting all kinds of updates from all kinds of places at the moment here.
Oh, yeah?
Let's see if I can get back to the one I was, here it is. Our gas balloon teams participating in America's Challenge are actually starting to make some landings. Last I knew, they were kind of Nebraska going into Iowa, going to be a little bit west of the Great Lakes here. I think this is. I'll have to get it down to the.
Hey, Duncan.
Get it down to the command center here, but it looks like Mark and Sherry are down. There's Team 9. That would be Sherry White you were just talking about.
Right.
They have landed. It was a fast landing, but everybody is great. Barbara and Peter, team number 5, Barbara Fricky and Peter Cuneo have also landed safely.
Well, there's a comment here from Susan Collins on our Facebook page. Says the 2 teams from France are running neck and neck with one USA team still in the running.
We call up the race tracker on YB Races, and we'll. Oh, there's the map. You can do it that way.
Yeah, you can use the screen map.
If you'll
there.
click on the leaderboard, on the a little bit to the right and down.
Apparently, it's USA Team 1 that is still flying.
Right there. So that's this is going to tell us who's in the lead. So is that Team 7 from France, and Team 2 from France. Team 3 from the U.S., and so we'll start seeing landings if we scroll down there. But yeah, if I'm reading that, let's see here. And the top 3 teams are within, is that 200 kilometers of each other? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, you're doing a better job reading it than I am.
1104 and 1103.
Yeah, so just, and then 1092. So yeah, just less than
even
10
closer
kilometers.
Than I did, yep.
Separating the top 3 teams.
And of course, it's a distance race. So these guys, because this is live tracking, the tracking is updated every 5 minutes from those tracker devices. So every 5 minutes, you get a new position report. You can bet that their teams are watching that, maybe even them in the balloon. But somebody's paying close attention to that, and it's going to be, okay, who's going to land first? Almost a game of chicken, if you will, to see what's happening. But we are hearing reports of kind of fast landings, but everything is good and safe and having a wonderful time. It's a great picture of Sherry. We'll get down to the truck and see if we can get pulled up. Hey, there's Henry. I have to get it to you. I don't think it's on the website anywhere. It's on my phone. I'll have to send it down to you.
Just noticed this morning, hey Henry, noticed a few minutes ago that Peppermint Dream 2 has launched. That is the red and white balloon that's just up to the left of center of the group of balloons in the sky now.
Look at those.
Look at that. That's kind of a steampunk thing going on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Peppermint Dream 2 is Mark High, who's flying the balloon in his 20th year here at Albuquerque, New Mexico.
So we're joined once again this morning by Henry Rosenbaum, our balloon meister. Good morning again.
Good morning, Art. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great here.
Good morning, Henry. How are you?
We have today.
Isn't it awesome this morning?
Is unbelievable. I'm sure you've talked about it, but this is day 5, and we've seen balloons in the air or on the ground at every site.
That's right.
We're at 100%.
We are.
Yeah.
We had the gas balloon on Monday evening, and that was just an added
night. Yeah. Even the opening Saturday with fog, we still had hundreds of balloons inflated on the field.
Great pictures.
And actually, a few of the very first ones did get airborne, so we actually did fly.
That's what I'm saying.
On that first day.
We've had 100% balloons in the air. Not as many on that Saturday, but this is another Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce day.
And a little bit of everything, because we had that fog on Saturday. We had great boxes for a few days.
Yes.
Now we've got this flow out to the northwest.
Yes, heading out to Corrales and Rio Rancho.
And all the great landing zones that are out there.
It
a really
is.
good, safe area to go to.
Splash and dash is on the way.
That's what I was going to say. I'm sure you're going to get some great shots of the splash and dashes.
We actually got some good shots from our balloon cam yesterday of people doing splash and dashes.
Yes.
And then the balloon we got our camera in also did a splash and dash.
Hey, that's bonus.
There you go.
Can't beat that. Hey,
got to see wet feet as well.
Yeah, yeah, we did. We see a balloon with water at the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom of the
It's fortuitous that you're here because we have a special request.
Yes.
We've done a challenge with Andrew Holly, who has a habit of boxing and zooming the tower.
Yes.
Here.
Tall Steve.
So we have a challenge that if he can put a marker down down on the rooftop studio. We're gonna have him fly the whole production team over to England so we can live stream the Sky Safari balloon event.
Yes.
So he said we had to get permission first from you guys in the Red
I
Jackets.
give permission for him to drop something.
Okay.
Although he's very good, and I'm sure he
could
could do it, but
yeah.
he can't get that permission
Okay.
from me.
All right.
But that's worth asking.
Well,
It's
he did,
definitely worth asking.
and to his credit, he said you guys have to get permission from the
Yes.
guys in the Red Jackets first.
Yep.
He wasn't going to do it without that, so
No,
we thought we'd ask.
Yeah, kudos for him for asking, but I can't give him that permission.
Okay.
But you're right.
That's all right.
We understand. We
He
know.
and his folks that he's brought over are putting on a spectacular show with those shapes.
They are.
We can't wait till tomorrow when we start the shapes.
Oh yeah, all 104 of them, and the field will be limited just to them mostly. So we'll really get a chance to see all the shapes. And tomorrow night, of course, the first Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo.
Yes.
That's always exciting.
Yeah, very spectacular.
If
Yeah.
they can't make it on Thursday, we do it all again on Friday.
That's
So
right.
2 days of featuring them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the parachutists, the fast tracks.
Right, right.
They
Yep.
right. Two jumps each night. One at 5:30. No, excuse me. One at 5 and one at 7:30.
Right.
And the 7:30 includes those pyro.
Yeah.
That's pretty spectacular.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
We should have him here substituting for us so one of us can get a night off, you know?
It'll be good. Yeah, or go fly in the plane with them. That's the deal. You know, the helmet cam from those guys is fabulous. We get to see them in the plane before they jump, and then they're all lit up. The plane's lit up. They jump out. We get great views up there. Saw great views of the balloons still lit up on the field as they were coming down last week.
What time do you start your broadcast in the morning?
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Right.
You need to send somebody to our pilot briefing.
We'll do it.
And
Okay.
let them show the world what we're broadcasting to our pilots.
Yeah.
And I truly mean that. I'm getting texts and calls, and I just talked to my good friend David Hughes. You remember David?
Oh, yes.
Back
Yeah,
in
know
Virginia.
David well.
He's carrying his phone around everywhere he goes. He just told me he just left breakfast with a couple friends of his.
Sure.
And he was watching our broadcast live while he's having breakfast with his friends.
We had a gathering of our Louisiana crew last night, got together for dinner, and some of the Gauthier folks were there as well, because Guy Gauthier is part of the group there out of Longview. His brother was here, and he said I think it was his wife, flew home, and she watched it live on the airplane all the way from leaving Albuquerque from the Sunport to landing in Milwaukee.
I'm telling you, you're setting records here. I don't know of any other event that does this type of broadcast.
We think this is the only one in the world that does this kind of
Yeah,
broadcasting.
you're setting the stage. And,
Thanks. We're having fun doing it.
Yeah, not only to the two of you, but also to your production team.
Our production team is the best.
Yes.
I'm really proud to be associated with it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice job to everybody.
And it's just a part of the quality of the event that we're all a part of.
We are.
You guys and your staff doing an incredible job getting the balloons in the air safely, and we get to show it all, and we all have fun doing it. None of us would be here if this was work. Let's admit it.
Yeah, we love this. This is our passion, and we're fortunate we get to share it with so many. Not the visitors, not only the visitors that come here, but the visitors
now
that are out there
a
viewing
worldwide
and also
audience.
listening.
Yeah.
So thank y'all both for doing what you do.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to go back over here and continue the work at the
and
South Tower.
we'll pass the bad news to Andrew that no marker drops on the tower.
Yes, I think you knew the answer. He just wanted to ask.
We all did.
No,
we all
he did the right thing.
He did.
He did the right thing.
And
you know, he's probably off the hook too, because taking our entire production team over there,
That'd
he'll have to foot. Yeah.
That'd have been a pretty big bill. Somebody would have to foot.
It would have. Yes. Okay.
All right. Thanks,
I'm
Henry.
pass it back. Thank y'all.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Henry.
We were talking about people watching things on air. The other morning, one of our balloonists, I think, forgot to pull the tie off and did a little ding-dong TikTok going out of here.
Yeah?
Within an hour, and of course he knew he was flying, his brother called him and said, "They're talking about you doing a TikTok on the..." What does that mean? What happened? He had to tell me that story this morning as well. We're going to go to Ruth in just a moment, but there's Ted Mays with the red hat on backwards. He is flying our As Time Flies balloon, which is our Balloon Fiesta live camera. You're tied up in the cord there, Mr. Glen. He is flying that for us, and he sent me a text a few minutes ago and asking that we give a shout out to, let me get it back in front of me here so I remember what it said. Click there. There we go. Give a shout out to pilot James Morgan from Amarillo. He's been watching us all week, and he apparently is due to show up tomorrow. So Ted has stepped in to fly our XTO sponsored As Time Flies balloon here on Balloon Fiesta Live, and always appreciate that. And we're going to have some fabulous pictures here from them in just a few minutes. But meanwhile, Ruth Lind has found the president of the board of directors of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, Ty Young. So Ruth, what's up?
Indeed, Ty is with me here this morning. President of Balloon Fiesta, that's a huge job, and you've been doing such a great job at it. You were telling me a few minutes ago about the new park and ride system Fiesta has in place this year.
Yes, we couldn't have been happier with the way things went this past weekend. Certainly we'll always have some things to work out, but overall, I'm very pleased with how it went.
How is it different this year than in years past?
A number of changes. We felt so bad after last opening day in 2018, where we had some guests that were not treated right at all, and we've been working ever since to change it. There were different drop-off points for the different locations. There were different flight times, as we call it, waves, obviously. We had a 4 a.m. departure and a 5:30 a.m. departure, and I think the combination of all those really improved things a lot. The city also helped with adding some buses to the system, and we know what we need to do for next year, but this year is very good so far.
If someone wants to use the park and ride system for this coming weekend's mass ascensions, what would they do?
Go onto our website, balloonfiesta.com, and purchase the tickets online. They cannot be purchased for cash, with cash on site, but they can use a smartphone or device to buy them on site if there's still availability. Some of our events sold out this past weekend. Some of the park and rides sold out, but people were able to get on the next wave or possibly another day, but it's really helped with people planning as well.
That's terrific. Ty, thank you so much for putting that in place, and thank you for all the work you do for Balloon Fiesta.
I appreciate it very much, and thank everybody that's doing it right for us.
Back up to the stage, guys.
Thanks, Ruth. Thanks, Ty. Great improvements to park and ride, some changes to parking. You know, it's one of those continuous improvement things. When things don't go as well as we think they should, how can we make it better? We've been doing that for 48 years, and some people like to say, well, why didn't you get it right? It's because things keep changing. So we keep tweaking to make it better all the time. There's a great shot of One-Eyed Jack, one of our special shapes. Purple with the yellow mohawk there. Jordan Cox from Indianapolis, Indiana, flying One-Eyed Jack for us. And as we mentioned, with Henry Rosenbaum tomorrow and Friday, our special shape days. All the regular shape balloons will be here as well in the morning. They'll be flying from somewhere else to come to the field. But of course, we will have already stood up and flown many of the special shapes from the field. So it's kind of a special shapes mass ascension, and then all of our regular balloons will fly in as competition resumes tomorrow. There's Rich Lawhorn in Humpty Dumpty. Always a favorite here, Humpty Dumpty. And we're down at the south end of the field. Oh, far out there, I see Anton, our gas station attendant, has gotten airborne. And that pattern does continue to hold a little bit off to the north for about maybe 400 or 500 feet, maybe 600, yeah, about 500 feet. Then it makes a left turn and heads out over the river. I'm noticing out over the river, though, the winds are coming back to the south, Glen. And so folks are kind of drifting right along the bosque and
they
probably
sure are.
Floating right down the river.
Yeah.
If you go back up, then you continue your path in your direction all the way back out into Rio Rancho Corrales and the wide open spaces here in Albuquerque. The city has kind of filled in pretty well. So going south, the landing spaces are a little tighter and a little farther apart as well.
Got a nice note from Joyce Hefter Bulvas. I hope I pronounced that right, Joyce. Says, hi from Illinois. We love you at Lyle Fest. We were here for the weekend mass ascension. And she's referring to the Eyes to the Skies Balloon Fest that I've been announcing for 25 plus years up in Lyle, Illinois. So thank you for that very nice comment, Joyce. We appreciate that. Always love traveling up to Lyle. It's a beautiful little community.
Hey, a couple of shout-outs. People checked in earlier. Let's see, it was Don Henderson. Barb Tomlin has checked in on us. And Carol is asking about, are we sure about Team 4? They go from 0 to 0.2 miles an hour from time to time. We're using GPS trackers this year versus our ham radio trackers. And so if you know about GPS, the accuracy, it keeps recalculating your position every so many seconds, and that can be off by just a little bit. And so if it...
Well, and 0.2 miles per hour is not moving very quickly.
It's not really moving. They're not really dragging through the woods there. So it's just a GPS error correction fluctuation, if you will.
Look at Sean Askren here now. They've been launching
all
and going off to the north, and all of a sudden Sean is coming right over the rooftop studio and over to our officials' tower in the Intel balloon.
Well, we caught that over there in the river, so that's finally got here.
So it's finally reached us here, yeah.
He's taking our picture.
He is.
Good morning, Sean.
All the red jackets, all the officials on their tower were looking up and waving to Sean. Morning, Sean.
Let me take my glasses off for that picture.
Morning, Sean. Yeah, Sean Askren away in the Intel balloon. And look, here come a whole bunch more now that are all of a sudden, that wind shift has gotten here, and now we're coming from the launching off the south end, and they're coming at us.
How fortuitous of them.
Right, yeah. Perfect timing.
Yeah, there's your black sheep, if you didn't get a good picture of it yesterday.
I did get a couple of pictures of it yesterday. I'd love for him to fly right over us. When he came past yesterday, he was a little to the side and had his butt turned toward us.
That's Mojo Rising on the
Nasty
screen
sheep.
now with the blue, yellow, red, the yellow pennants. They're the ones we talked to a couple of days ago with the really fabulous painted trailer.
Yeah. When Pigs Fly is airborne. That is Doug Gant, of course, in his special shape Hamlet. And in election years, we quite often see Hamlet for President stickers around Fiesta Park. And,
Wags.
Oh, yeah, there's Wags. Hey, Wags. Woof.
And just a little puff of a... I think the nose is a little bit of an appendage.
It is, yeah. The nose
shape.
is a little bit 3D. In fact, that is the new balloon of Dean Carlton from up in Illinois.
Great shot.
And he was telling me that he had talked with Sam Parks, and he said, well, you know, we're not really in shape, but Wags does have a little bit of a 3D nose, and so they let him in as a special shape this year.
Guilty. That's the name of that yellow balloon with the mustache just going out of the screen.
That is Zarek Wells, of course. Our Itsy Bitsy Spider is in the air over here to the east. That's the preventive pest control balloon. Brilliant royal, kind of emerald green with a big black widow spider on the side of it.
Just went directly overhead. We're going to be able to see right up in the balloon.
Right up into the balloon of the Crown Plaza Albuquerque balloon. They're passing literally directly between
over.
the two of us. And as we look straight up, in just a moment, we can see all the way up through to the...
1, 2, 3,
click! There it is, the parachute top.
Yep.
Way at the top. There it is.
There it is.
Right at the top of the balloon.
Always love those pictures from the ground straight up through.
Yep.
Past the basket and all.
There goes Lee Hooper now in the emoji balloon. Off to the right of the screen, the shot we just had there. We just went off of it. The emoji balloon, the little round yellow smiley face emoji. And there he is. Lee is here from Lindstrand Balloons in the United Kingdom, and Lord knows, what would life be without emojis nowadays? Nowadays, there's whole campaigns to get special emojis. I know one of the ones that I'm part of is we're trying to get an emoji for the Texas state flag. People from Texas tend to post, they have one for Puerto Rico, which is similar to the Texas flag, but not identical, and people from Texas sometimes post that, and it just aggravates the bejeebs out of me because I'm quite proud of being a native Texan, and the Puerto Rican flag is not the Texas flag. So stop doing that, but we need to get, we need a Texas flag emoji. We finally just got a Scottish flag emoji within the last year or two, another area that I'm quite proud of because of my ancestral home there, but stop using the Puerto Rican flag for Texas. It's kind of like that commercial, okay is just not good enough. You know, it's okay, it's almost. Well, it ain't. It's not the Texas flag. Stop using it for Texas. We need our own Texas flag emoji. So I'll get off my bandwagon about that. But anyway, Lee Hooper in the emoji balloon out of the United Kingdom.
Not on our screen, but I see it, the yellow one with the kind of blue at the bottom. That is the Chief Justice of the Mexico State Supreme Court, Judy Nakamura. I just put my Canon binoculars on there. Judy's in the basket. She actually has her additional pilot, Becky DeSantis, flying that balloon. In fact, I'm going to make a note of the time code here because but we've talked with Becky a couple of times, and she said, what was the time code when I was on? I got to go back and see that I didn't make a fool of myself.
Just go back and watch the whole show.
That's what I told her.
There goes Paul Petrin in the Phillips 66 balloon. And what's interesting is these balloons that are launching and coming to us and coming toward us, moving south as they climb high, that north to west That northwest line is still there, and Paul Petrin is in it in the Phillips 66 balloon. And there's a little bit of speed right there. He's moving at a fairly decent little clip.
Well, that wind that was going to the south just for the last couple of minutes seems to be shifting to the southeast.
I thought I felt a little breeze on my face there for a moment.
And
right there, just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while, I mean, even a little bit with Sean Askren in the Intel balloon that went by a few minutes ago, they're starting to kind of get this east, so we're starting to get a nice round turn here. While it was all kind of one direction, I guess you could, basically a box is forming. It's kind of a...
It's almost a ground level box.
Yeah.
It's because you don't have to change altitude. It's just literally kind of spinning you around. Here comes the Team Slanja balloon launching right out of the center of the field just in front of us, which is patterned after the official state of New Mexico, Tartan. And you can Google New Mexico Tartan and see an image of it, but in this case, that's the balloon right there on screen, blue, green, red, and yellow, and Jeff Ashworth flying the balloon. And the team is called Slanja, which I've explained before is a Gallic greeting or toast. Slanja va is essentially saying to your good health in Gallic.
And bounce, Judy Nakamura's balloon was just in the lower right of that picture as Slanja was going.
Oh yeah, there's Judy's balloon again out there, I see it.
Yeah. But
the
shot we had, it was just kind of below.
And see the Emoji balloon now, he's climbed up and has moved into
right
it.
over.
And this balloon here, the kind of sky blue with the yellow crosses in the center,
yes.
It started over here to our left.
It did.
Took off, moved over to the east, and now it's climbed a little bit, and now it's in that flow out to the northwest, headed out toward Corrales.
Well, that pattern is definitely there. In fact, I think it's a little bit lower.
It looks like it is now, yeah.
Yeah.
The Kashari balloon just taking off now. One of our many special shapes, 104 special shapes we have registered for this year's Shapes Rodeo.
Peter Procopio flies Kashari there.
Does he?
He got an award at the BFA meeting the other day.
He did, and I can't recall what it was for off the top of my
might
head.
Have been a Master Pilot Award?
I believe you're right. I think it was the Ed Yost Master Pilot Award. A number of those were handed out, and we do have that awards list posted on the BFA Facebook page. So you can go to Facebook and look for Balloon Federation of America, and all of the award winners' names were posted. Those awards given out last Saturday at our annual general meeting.
Peter, one of the original folks that set up the Red Rock Balloon Rally in Gallup, New Mexico.
The Pandora balloon is directly overhead of us, a solid yellow racing balloon. Pandora has a marquee, a booth, a display, call it what you will, here on the field. And a few years ago, all of the women in my family, and there are far too many of them. I have my mom, my sister-in-law, and then 3 nieces, and now a grandniece as well. The women outnumber the boys. And I spent a boatload of money at Pandora because they had a limited edition hot air balloon bead for those Pandora bracelets that all the ladies love. And I took home a whole slew of them one year.
I remember that. Steve Wilkinson flying the balloon you've been talking about. There goes Cynthia Seal with Pat Rolfe.
Oh yeah, the balloon is actually called Limoncello, as I recall. And there is Cynthia Seal. Steve is here out of the great state of California. But yeah, the good news was I did all my Christmas shopping in one stop at the Pandora tent right here at Balloon Fiesta. The bad news was I spent a ton of money.
Just got an update from Kim Vesley that your sentimental favorite, the Texas team in the America's Challenge, Brian and Brenda, they have now landed safely as well. That means there are 3 teams still flying.
Well, good for them.
Last we looked at the leaderboard, of course, it was 2 French and
one USA
team. We'll have to look and see which one that is.
I think it was USA 1 that was still flying.
If it was Team 1, it would have been Andy Caton and Christophe Sapart.
Which would not surprise us.
He said he was going to be the last one
He said he was going to be the last one and would do anything to win because they didn't care if they tore up the balloon doing so.
So here's a nice shot of our 2 XTO balloons, XTO
side
Energy.
by side, along with just if you widen that shot a little bit, you'll see Tom McConnell and Dr. Tom McConnell in the New Mexico Zia balloon. So, and we are, of course, powered by XTO here on Balloon Fiesta Live. And a good time to remind folks you are watching Balloon Fiesta Live with live streaming coverage of the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon. And Balloon Fiesta Live is powered by XTO, a subsidiary of Exxon Mobil. I'm Glen Moyer.
I'm Art Lloyd Jr. We thank you very much for joining us. There goes the Zia balloon with Dr. Tom McConnell.
Yep.
Is younger one? Is he a doctor?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure, honestly.
There's all kinds of Tom McConnells in that family, so it's safe to just say Tom McConnell's flying.
Yeah. or at least one of the McConnells anyway. There's a whole
So the
batch
blue
of pilots
balloon
there.
with the rainbow that's just going off the side
Off
of the
right of the
screen
screen,
there.
yeah.
That's the one I was mentioning before, Bill Walker in Honeydew.
Right.
And the other day he went off and was kind of doing a swing back and
There's
forth.
he
said he was just swaying around the crowd is what he was doing. That's his
our crack
explanation.
camera team there.
Picked it up.
Is that, who's on camera? Is that Justine or is that Jordan?
So, by the way, there when we mentioned it the other day.
She's on camera? Yeah. Or is that Jordan? That's Jordan. Great camera work, Jordan.
Good
job.
We gave a shout out to them the other day, and Mom was watching in Socorro.
Oh yeah,
and appreciated us mentioning them.
Yeah, they've been doing great work, and they're kind of swapping out up here. That way, one can go sit inside where it's warm.
You know what?
The other side, they've been cheating on us, but it's okay.
This is one of those screenshots that I think we need to get posted here with the two XTO.
Well, the sponsor should like that. XTO should be happy.
Hey, can you guys animate the bug down there?
Uh-oh.
So, it should pop up here. There it is.
There it
Look
is.
at that.
The XTO bug right on the camera.
There you go.
Cool.
Again, a huge shout out to XTO. Thanks for all of your support here.
Yeah,
and thanks to the guys and the crew, the pilots of these balloons and the crews of these balloons for putting up with our teams being down there with the cameras, etc. Again, we have a camera in the balloon, in the red and white balloon, XTO balloon.
In all the years that I've done this, and this is my 30th year, this is the first time that Balloon Fiesta Live has been sponsored, and there go our two XTO balloons launching simultaneously, just like the Dawn Patrol show did.
Yeah, look at the Balloon Fiesta Live logo there.
Yeah, but in all these years that I've done this, in 30 years of being up on the tower, or
and
the
here we
Super
go.
Secret Announce Tower, or there's our view from the camera.
From the balloon.
We've only been sponsored twice, this year by XTO Energy, and once years ago when it was Tom Rutherford and I, we were sponsored as the official announcers. So it's kind of nice to have to be sponsored. So thank you, XTO, for that. We appreciate it.
Look at that, flying out nice.
Yeah, nice formation, the two flying. Right behind them is that pink camouflage balloon is a balloon called Tamo, which is my good friend Tammy Foley.
John Bolger's flying the yellow XTO Energy balloon for us today. Ted Mays flying the red one.
Looking back at the field, and as you can see, we're just about clear of the field, and it's only 8:20. We're running really on a, we were saying how slow it was, but we're actually making great time in getting the field cleared for a mass ascension. We're moving pretty quickly this morning.
So get ready for your close-up from our balloon cam view.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Is my hair okay?
He's managed to get a little direction directly over us.
Do I need
again.
makeup?
Maybe.
There we are.
There we are. Hello up there.
That is the famous rooftop studio from where we are broadcasting live.
Great job. Thank you, Will. Thank you very much.
So looking around the field, I see Pat Fogue out there in the IMTS balloon, white balloon with the blue and green swirls through it. Looks like that's the KKOB balloon down there, red and black on the top. I
Yes,
believe.
it is. Yep.
That's inflating.
Kind of continuing across. I see Blair Kaufman in the red, white,
Yep.
and blue with
Blair's
the silver
done well
stars.
in competition so far, so
He
good for
has.
him. And
He has.
A little closer, further west, but closer to us, there is Lady Jester. Some folks, they're fans of that balloon, asking about it this week.
There's a shot from our camera, the KOB balloon down towards the right. Just dropped out of the picture.
There's right in the center of
Earthchild.
that picture is Earthchild, the balloon that Orville Olivier flies with all the children of different races holding hands around the world.
There's Lady Jester you mentioned.
Yep, that's the top of Lady Jester in the green, gold, and purple, the colors of Mardi Gras. Lady Jester, originally owned by my very dear friends, Martha and Carson Lane. There's the black sheep. Right there on the screen. How about that? Is that from our north camera, maybe?
I'm thinking it is.
I think it must be, because...
And I think this is Tiger Paw.
There's Dr. Tom McConnell, or one of the McConnells again, in the Zia balloon.
Yep. From our balloon cam up in XTO as time flies.
Yep.
Get to see the parking of the park. And there's Concession Row, Main Street.
Main Street, yeah.
Swinging back around the L-shaped tent up there in the very far end. That's the Balloon Discovery Center. The big stuff right behind that one balloon is the Artisans tent. More parking and RV parking.
And you know, we have
Look at the balloons in the sky.
Yeah. We've hardly mentioned, too, that the steel chainsaw carving contest is ongoing all week down there on the north end. About 7 or 8 little tiny pointy top tents where some amazing chainsaw artists create just incredible creations. Create creations, is that probably didn't come out right. Yeah, they absolutely create amazing artwork, and a lot of it is for sale. Some of it they raffle off. You just go by at any time, buy a ticket, and then at some point they do a raffle. You don't even have to be present to win, I don't think. There's some amazing art to be seen down there. So if you're at the north end of the field at some point this week, you should stop in. We ought to maybe get one of our reporters, if we can get them that far down there, and perhaps get a little video of some of the chainsaw carving that's going on.
So there's your black sheep again, and now that I can see where it is, that's from our stage camera.
Our stage camera, yeah,
our
she's looking
midfield
right
camera
at the
looking out that way.
I don't think even my telephoto lens on my Canon on my M150 won't get that far down there.
There you go. Hey, we've been bringing you updates on America's Challenge throughout the morning.
Which means I need to go to the Canon tent and buy a newer lens, right?
There you go. That's exactly
I'm sure that's what they're
means.
saying over there in the tent.
Yeah, sure. Come on by.
Come on over and buy
We got a
lens.
lens that'll take care of that. We've been giving you updates on America's Challenge. Of course, they launched out of here Monday night. Most of the teams have landed. At my last report, we had 3 up. But let's go to the command center and Ruth Lind and find out what's happening at the very latest. Ruth?
Thank you, Art. Yes, we are getting a very exciting race right now. We have 6 balloons landed, 3 balloons still flying, the 2 French teams, and Andy Caton and Christophe Zappart. I'm here with the America's Challenge gas balloon meteorologist, Randy Lefevre. And Randy, talk to us about what's going on out there weather-wise and why the balloons are landing somewhat earlier than they normally would at this stage of the race.
Right. Thank you, Ruth. So there's 2 things going on with right now. Basically throughout this whole race and certainly into this last day, they've been going very, very fast, upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour, maybe 1,000 feet above the ground. And they can continue with that. But I think many of the teams that are landing, to answer your question, many of the teams that are landing are doing so to catch the early morning calm, if there is a calm, with the winds. There's less winds at the surface in the early morning, which is right now. If they wait too long, then those really fast winds are going to mix all the way down to the surface, and their landing speeds, if they were to choose to land later in the day, would be fast. So I think they're just taking advantage of the stable, less wind conditions this morning.
Now, when we spoke earlier and in the briefing, you talked about another front coming down to the southeast from Canada. Where does that stand now?
Right, good question. Right now, it's basically on the border of the Dakotas, North Dakota stretching into central South Dakota and Minnesota, and it's moving from west to east. So all the teams are also looking at that, and I'm sure that's factoring into their decision about landing early before waiting too long, and that front overtakes them with the bad weather.
Thank you. And we're going to step back a little here so that the photographer can see the screen. These teams are up in Minnesota at present, and the 3 teams who are still active, if they should keep going, they may also run into some restricted airspace that is prohibited even from vehicles in Canada. So depending on how fast they're going, they may need to land short or plan on a much longer flight to clear that restricted airspace. But here in the command center, Carolyn and Cliff this morning and the rest of the team later in the day are keeping an absolutely close eye on it. Randy is monitoring weather minute by minute. I don't think you ever sleep during the gas race. And we are very, very excited about how the America's Challenge is turning out this year. Back to you up on the stage, guys.
Hey, it's been great, Ruth.
Thanks,
and
Ruth.
All the 6 teams that have landed, all reporting in, everything's fine with those landings?
They're all down safe and sound, and that's good to hear. I was going to point out a moment ago, I see it moving now. I don't know if they launched or not. One of the balloons that was I think they're just getting airborne and will be popping up in a second. They're on the west side of the field by the Arroyo. One of the balloons that was late in the competition yesterday, and I talked about, you and I both did, coming into view. It's red on the bottom with a white, I called it a diagonal. It's actually meant to be a mountain, a line of mountains, and then the blue sky atop, navy blue with 3 yellow dots around it. There it is,
just kind of
coming into our
popping right
view,
over
just
the
popping
Never
up.
Forget
Yeah.
balloon.
That is actually a replica of the city and county of Denver, Colorado flag. And I was reminded of that this morning when the pilot stopped me. You can tell when people are watching our broadcast, even the pilots participating here and their crew, because people come into us and says, "You said so and so was in such and it's not them, it's me," or it's such and
Yep.
And he came up and said, "Hey, just so you know, I'm flying the balloon, and it is the city and county of Colorado, Denver, Colorado flag." So just wanted to give them a quick shout since they stopped me at breakfast to let me know about my mistake. I always appreciate that.
So here's our balloon cam shot again, and we said
There's
we were
the
seeing
emoji.
the tops of the balloons in the river, and now we actually get a
Seeing
shot of the river.
balloons in the
Look
river.
at all the people on the sandbar out there,
Yeah.
down there watching the balloons come in.
There's Humpty Dumpty
I was
there
gonna
to
say,
the
that's
left.
Humpty Dumpty, right?
And then there's the emoji, Lee Hooper up there. Now we're back at the field looking south toward the Balloon Museum. There's the City of Plano balloon just coming up right. That's Billy. My good friend Bill Broker, who flies that balloon, white with the red, white, and blue, and actually it's red, blue, and black spiral around the balloon.
There's Mojo Rising getting down into the river.
Yeah.
That's the blue, red, and yellow with the pennants.
The City of Plano hosts its own very fine ballooning event. For the past 13 years, the presenting sponsor was In Touch Credit Union for the Plano Balloon Festival. I think this was their last year, and it was also the 40th year for that particular event. Art and I got to announce that together because I'm retiring from that event. I've been the voice of the Plano Balloon Festival since the early 1980s, and have decided to retire from that event for other scheduling issues. And Art is very kindly stepping in to fill the void there, and so he'll be the voice in the future. There's the black sheep one more time.
Cosmos, Jerry Holmes from Liberty, Texas.
Jerry and Cindy Holmes in Cosmos. There's Lottie Dottie Chicken up above.
A few minutes ago, I saw a Smoky Bear in the air. Dale Patton scheduled to fly Smoky Bear.
Okay.
It's another one of those balloons that has multiple pilots.
And I'm just looking all the way straight
There
down to the north end of the field, and there is the Phillips 66 balloon. Remember, Paul Petron was in that flow that was moving out to the northwest, and somehow he's either stopped or he's come back. Just beside him, as a matter of fact, also is that sky blue balloon with the yellow crosses in the center. We had talked about it earlier, moving up and into that northwest flow, but apparently they dropped down and stayed out of it enough to stay down near the north end of the field.
Well, that's part of the box, which is kind of angled here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were going off to the southeast. You go up, you go out to the, and just don't stay up there. Drop out
Drop
of it.
down
You'll
and
just
you
come
can
right
still
back
come
in.
back.
One of the things you can do with when you're one of the last ones off the field, if you're the first one, you can't come back and land on the field
No,
until
because
it's
there's
cleared.
too much traffic on the field.
But now that we're almost through the launch, you can just drop back down and come right
and
back
come back
to
and
us.
land. Yeah. There is Lady Jester getting airborne in the western corner of the field. Also, we can now see the balloon that flies for our sponsor, 7-Eleven. I think it's Avalon and 7-Eleven, and that is the balloon called Twisted Gator. And that is Bud Person's balloon, and it is orange and blue and white spiral.
We just see the little blue in the lower right of the picture. It's gone now, but it was just right there in the lower right.
There's another shot out at the river. There's the emoji again, and there's one of the
right guys.
Yep, I think it's. Is it Tommy or Timothy? I forget. I know Jonathan is not flying. It's and I can't remember if it's Tom or Timothy. I spoke to him yesterday. I should remember, and I apologize.
That's one of those that I always end up having a blank on. So.
Well,
I think that's
it's
Steve
not Jonathan.
Coffey.
I know that.
There you go. And Tommy, well, is supposed to be flying the more round one. So the yellow and red with the black spiral, that's Steve Coffey. Look at all those boats and canoes and
oh my gosh,
kayaks.
look at that.
Yeah, look
all
at that.
up on the sandbar there.
Steve Coffey from Albuquerque with, of course, I'm blanking out on Steve's balloon name. Something like Twist of Fate. Twist of Fate.
Looked like he was about to land right there on the sandbar touchdown. You were saying there's now a company that will take you out on a Rio Grande River excursion, essentially, during Balloon Fiesta.
Yeah.
So you can go out and be on the river when the balloons come over there and play.
I wonder if that's them.
It might be with that
we
many
saw out there.
That many boats and everything
Paul
there.
Petrit coming in right by Cosmo.
Yeah.
He's going to land
looks
right
like
on the
he's
north
gonna
end
land
of the
on
field.
the north
now
end of
there's
the
an
field.
iron bucket for a basket.
Oh, yeah, that's the old Aerostar iron bucket we call them. They're actually aluminum.
Right. But the idea was, in fact,
Oh,
it's right overhead.
Jeez, look up.
Look, they're out in the water.
Yeah, they sure are.
Get out and get a picture to prove that we. Did he just fall in the water?
I hope not.
The water that's all of 6 inches deep.
Reminds
and it looks
me
like
of
he fell.
My first news director, when I worked in television, used to always tell us, if you fall in the hole, be sure and hold the camera up, protect the camera. So I'm hoping whoever that was, if they fell in the Rio Grande, they held their camera up, keep it out of the water.
So the iron bucket that we were talking about is the Grateful Red.
And look at the bottom. They've got we
They've
talked
got a
about
smiley
smiley
face
faces and the different artwork you see on the parachute tops of the balloon sometimes. I noticed, I made a comment about one of the French team when they flew out in the gas balloon race the other night. They had the French tricolor painted on the bottom of the basket.
Right.
Well, they've got a smiley face on the bottom of the basket looking down at us this morning. That's kind of cute. 770 KKOB getting airborne out of the center of the field now. And of course, this is where it all began, was the 50th birthday party for 770 then KOB. Celebrating their 50th birthday back in 1973 when we put 13 balloons together and created what is now credited as being the original Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
Ron Curry, the pilot of 770 KKOB. He's been the pilot of that for a long time.
Long as I can remember, and this is my 30th year here, so yeah.
They used to stand the balloon up at the University of New Mexico Lobo football games.
Oh, yeah?
And he's flown it. He's gotten a lot of this, and this is the second or third envelope. They changed colors about, I can't remember, 10 or 15 years ago.
Really?
Don't see Ron flying too often, but always here at Balloon Fiesta, of course.
Smokey Bear has not gone very far. He's still out over the northwest end
even
of the
that
field.
flow to the northwest is stopped.
Yeah, they're the balloons that are launched now are just kind of hanging around. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
that's
great fun.
Fun for the crowd, particularly.
Billy Jester looks like it's going to try and land right behind us.
Oh, well, don't land on the tower because we know that's not okay.
He's past it.
And don't drop anything on the tower. That's not okay either.
No, he's got to get over the RV parking that's to the south of us.
Get over to the museum. We've had a couple of balloons land on the green space there around the museum before.
Hey, speaking of the Balloon Museum, they are watching us on Channel 28 over there, our low-powered television station.
Oh, yeah?
So they've got a couple of TVs on over there, and I'm understanding that the folks over there are just enjoying this to no end.
Well, good.
When we did the Balloon Glow Saturday and Sunday night, they were counting along with us as we counted down into Allburns,
Good for them.
So glad that we can provide that TV signal over to the folks at the Balloon Museum.
I was downstairs in sponsor hospitality this morning, and by virtue of our all-access pass, we actually get in a few minutes before they open to the public, as it were. So I was sitting at a table all alone having breakfast, and right underneath one of the TV monitors in there, and they were playing back one of our archive shows. And it was really bizarre to be sitting there eating breakfast and hearing myself on the TV just above my head, looking up, and we went, oh yeah, that's Art and me talking about balloons. That was kind of a fun moment this morning. They were playing back one of the archive earlier shows that we had done.
Well, and that's what we're doing on Channel 28. We're actually playing the two most recent shows.
It was yesterday morning show that they were playing back at the time, yeah.
So we're playing that. So I tell people, hey, you're down here on the field and you're experiencing this live. If you go back to your RV, if you're staying here on the field or around the field, you can go back and watch it from a whole different set of angles because we've got 6 different camera shots out here.
And you'll see things on our feed, on the camera feed, that you didn't see. If you're out here if you're out here live looking at it with your own 2 eyeballs, you'll see things on the feed that perhaps you didn't see while you're out here experiencing it live. And of course, those folks watching online, if depending on the time change and the different hour of the day that we're on, wherever you may be, if it's too early for you or it's late in the day and you missed the morning broadcast, well, you can always just go back and watch the archived version at your leisure.
That's it. I saw the Spirit of 76 balloon on the screen just a few moments ago down in the river, about to do a splash and dash. That's Jason Gabriel. Jason's from Aurora, Colorado, and he went out to the Colorado Springs Labor Day Liftoff, now called the Labor Day Liftoff, when he was very little, got his first balloon ride there, became hooked, and now he's a pilot flying his own balloon everywhere.
Wow.
And so that's how a lot of this starts. How do you become a pilot? Well, go out and crew, and you'll get your ride, and you'll be hooked, and then you figure out how to get through the lessons and all those requirements.
Well, another example of that is Billy Broker, who's flying the City of Plano balloon here. He's just over the manufacturer tents, right in front of the Sid Cutter Pilot Pavilion at the moment, in that red, white, and blue and black balloon. And I can remember when I got started in ballooning in the early 80s in Plano, Texas, and Billy was just a kid then. He's younger than I am. Seems like almost everyone is. And
we weren't going there.
He was, well, thank you. He was just a kid and would come out chasing balloons on his bicycle, and got involved in the Plano Ballooning Association. And now he's
splash and dash.
Yeah, now he is a great commercial pilot in his own right, and flying for the City of Plano. So it's all about getting started whenever you can. You're never too old or too young to get involved in the sport. Look at the shimmering light on the Rio Grande this morning. That's a beautiful shot.
The IMTS balloon, you said that's Pat Fogue, right?
That's Pat Fogue in the IMTS balloon.
Getting
There's the City of Denver and the County of Denver, a flag balloon we talked about earlier. Red on the bottom, and then the white line of mountains, and then the blue sky and the yellow sun there.
And now you were talking about chainsaw carving a little bit earlier. There is an example of one of the chainsaw carved masterpieces.
Oh yeah, and they do some brilliant work down there.
Yeah, that one's about, I'm going to guess that one's about 7 or 8 feet tall.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I've seen benches, like park benches you can sit on, that are completely carved and have big bears or eagles, and there's just all kinds of things that go on down there. I need to get down there this year. I haven't been down to that end of the park yet.
See the little dog? We're just over to our west. They've now crossed the river, or about to cross the river, depending on the angle we're looking at here. And kind of in the, still in the Bosque, in the North Valley area of Albuquerque. Lots of trees.
Good time to remind you that you are watching Balloon Fiesta Live. We are powered by ExxonMobil, powered by XTO rather, an ExxonMobil subsidiary, my apologies. And you're watching, of course, live coverage of the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon. There is Spot the Wonder on your screens right now, the Wonder Bread balloon. That is our good friends Chris and Amanda Sabia. They came up and said hello yesterday, traded a few pins with us. And always good to have them here. There's Pat Fogue again in the
Still
IMTS
playing
balloon.
in the water.
Yeah.
So someone on our Facebook page says, I guess the hot air balloons don't need sandbags like the gas balloons.
That's true.
That's exactly right. Hot air balloons fly by the warming up the air and making the air less dense, therefore lighter, and that's how we go up. The hotter the air inside, we go up. When we want to come down, we cool it off, let it cool, or vent some out the top. And so the air is always changing temperature inside a hot air balloon. On a gas balloon, it's filled with helium or hydrogen. All of ours went off with hydrogen the other night. Basically a set amount of hydrogen. While it will expand in the heating of the day and contract at night, that's what's happening there. So we control the altitude of a gas balloon by either lightening the load, getting rid of sand, or venting hydrogen out the top.
And you don't want to vent hydrogen because you're losing the lift, and you can't replace it with a hot air balloon. The heat, you can replace the lift. As the balloon cools, you lose lift, and all you have to do is reheat it to regain lift. But if you release gas, which provides the lift in a gas balloon, you can't replace it. So you don't want to vent gas. So you carry ballast to lose weight that way and maintain a constant lift in the balloon.
Lottie Dottie Chicken flew around and made it back to the field.
Our Facebook.
There's a shot looking right down on the top of the balloon, which we don't get to see very often.
Yeah.
So the white balloon with the diamonds, and then you have the yellow and blue and white top. That's the parachute we were just talking about.
Yep.
When you want to come down in a hot air balloon, you pull that down into the balloon. The hot air escapes through that opening.
It opens a hole up there, and the air goes out.
Yep. And then you let go of the rope, and it reseals itself so that you don't continue to come down. Look at Mr. Fish, just the eyes over the trees.
Our expert Facebook audience says, it's Debbie Marker, I think it's, if I'm reading this, or Merker, says MST Adventures will take you out on a SUP, a stand-up paddleboard, to see the splash and dash in the Rio Grande. That's just one of a few companies that operate. Others will take you out there on boats and kayaks and all sorts of things, airboats. So yeah, you can get right out into the river whenever the balloons go that way and play that way.
Russ is coming here in 48 hours. Travel safe, Russ. We look forward to seeing you. Can you see it from I-40? Yes, depending where on I-40 you are and how high the balloons go, and where on I-40 you are. If you're on I-40 over in Arizona, no. But if you're going through Albuquerque and I-40, yeah,
Patrick Hendricks says, how's things going with the gas balloon race? Question mark, only 3 balloons in the air? Question, yes, that's true. All the teams have landed now except 3. 2 French teams and and 1 USA team are still flying in the air. The others have all landed and are all down and safe. And largely due to, as we heard Randy Lefevre telling us earlier, because the winds that they're in, they're traveling 50, 60 miles per hour, just 1,000 feet above the ground. So many choosing to land early this morning in order to get down while the winds were somewhat calm. And as we also heard in that update, the 3 balloons that are still flying are approaching a large segment of restricted airspace. So they're either going to have to land prior to entering that airspace, or they're going to have to plan on what appears to be a fairly long flight to get over the airspace. And of course our crack team down in the command center monitoring all of that in communication with the teams. But yes, only 3 balloons still flying in the America's Challenge gas balloon race, 2 French teams and 1 USA team.
And so great to be able to go into the command center because of our connections with Ruth and with Kim Vesley, who's the media liaison. So
right.
Kim has been texting me. We've been going live to Ruth in the command center. So it's we've got the inside track there. We have it all covered for you here on Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO, an ExxonMobil subsidiary.
A little earlier, I was alluding to the steel chainsaw carving competition that goes on each year at Balloon Fiesta, way down on the north end of the field, opposite end of the field from us. And I suggested we should get a crew down there, and lo and behold, Ruth Lind, our intrepid reporter, has made her way down to the chainsaw carving competition area. So, Ruth, tell us what's going on down there. Boy, it just got noisy. Go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, you guys know I live to make you happy. So here I am down here. I'm with Jason Emmons of Bear Hollow Balloon Carving, and they come here every year to do all this lovely chainsaw wood carving art. Jason, what kind of wood are you using?
Actually, we have ponderosa pine. We had it shipped in from southern Colorado. It works really well for what we're doing here. It carves pretty fast. We got some big diameter logs. So good wood, good artist, great artwork.
Now, if someone were to buy one of your pieces, how long does a ponderosa pine sculpture last?
The pieces last really well. You know, of course, we'll need a finish put on the piece to protect it from the elements, you know, the sunlight and the rain and whatnot. But, I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years, so I've got pieces that are 17 years old that still look like the day I made them.
If someone wanted to purchase a piece here, are they able to have you ship it back to where they're from?
Yes, we are actually working with a local crating company that is giving estimates to have some of these larger sculptures. But behind us here, or actually in front of us here, we have like a carver's marketplace. So there's all different shapes and sizes of carvings that people can walk up and purchase while they're here. Some of them little bitty small owls that they can get in their suitcase to take home with them for a little souvenir, all the way to giant dinosaurs inside of there that, of course, they'll have to have shipped home or bring a truck or trailer.
Sounds good. I saw a Sasquatch over there. One last thing before we go. I noticed you had a sign out front that you're having auctions this week. Tell us about those, and who's your auctioneer?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We're working with Bentley's, who's a local auctioneer company here in Albuquerque. We're having 3 auctions later on the week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. right here where we're carving, and we're kind of on the north end of the grounds here. And then a lot of these sculptures, like I said, have a buy it now price, but we're going to pull majority of those and place those in that auction. There's no reserve. You just bid for what, just raise your hand high, and the person with their hand up last wins the carving. And there were some real deals. We had two auctions last weekend. The crowds were really good, but that's an auction. There were some good deals to be had, and of course, a lot of fun.
Well, I have to ask that question because when I'm not at Balloon Fiesta, I'm an auctioneer. So I'm very excited to come see your auctions. Jason, thank you so much for joining us on Balloon Fiesta Live this morning, and we will send it back up to Glen and Art on the stage.
Thanks, Ruth. And we were about to accuse Ruth of chumming for a little business down there because we know she's a professional auctioneer, and she owned up to it right there. That's cool.
She doesn't have enough to do out here.
Command
center, reporter for
gas,
Balloon.
reporter for us.
Yeah.
And
auctioneer for chainsaws.
An auctioneer for chainsaws. There you go. And she does. That's her professional line of work, is as an auctioneer. I have to mention that some years ago, when we first started the chainsaw contest, I actually went down and was able to commission one of the guys to create a special piece for me. I took one of my balloon pins from my Coyote Moon balloon, and he actually took that and carved it into a huge, nice big piece of wood. I don't know if it was ponderosa pine or whatever, but I still have that hanging in my office wall at home, and actually commissioned him to carve it, and he carved it for me while I was here at Balloon Fiesta. So not only can you buy the work that they're doing there, I'm sure that if you go up and chat with some of the folks, you might be able to commission a bespoke piece, a custom piece of your own if you'd like. Certainly worth checking out.
You bet.
Interestingly enough, the gentleman that I did the commission with was also an Albuquerque firefighter, so that made it a little special for me.
Exactly. Hey, attention down in the truck here. Jose De Leon says that he's checking in from Florida, and he misses working with Gary and the rest of the Windfire production team. Thanks for an amazing broadcast and the great memories. So, former employee checking in there, sounds like.
Travis Mathis says Sherry Edwards White said they landed their gas balloon in 30-mile-per-hour winds.
We had heard they were fast.
We heard they were fast. I haven't confirmed that, but thanks, Travis, for that bit of information. And when we heard Randy LaFouche say they were landing early in the morning while the winds were somewhat calmer, but they were moving at speeds of 50 to 60 miles per hour in some cases. I can recall working the command center for one of Dr. Bill Bussey's many world records some years ago. And while he was up at altitude in a hot air balloon, he actually clocked a ground speed of 118 miles per hour. So, and of course, you don't have that sense of speed when you're up in the balloon because you're moving with the wind, but that's moving pretty good in a hot air balloon. Of course, he was several thousand feet up at that point, not down near the ground.
So, Susan, you're correct. We should see the bees tomorrow. You're answering that question for us.
We did see them once earlier this week.
Yep, and so we would expect to see them. They are registered to be here as special shapes. We feature them on Thursday and Friday, although most of the 104 will stand up their balloon and fly it as throughout the rest of the week as well, as we've seen. In fact, right on the field right now, there's Smokey Bear, Lottie Dottie Chicken. I see Cosmos is setting down, but those three are right here on the field.
Well, I think Lady Jester qualifies.
Oh, yeah,
as a shape.
you're right. I missed
there.
her in there.
Yep, she's there.
She's there as well. So a number of them right here. Of course, we saw a lot of them go off, and they're still flying away from us. Alcito Bimbo was up. The One-Eyed Jack was up earlier. We
virtually all of the Longleat Safari Menagerie, Zoo, Fleet, call it what you will, they were all up.
Just got a text from my friend Cindy, who's been, now that she's retired, she can sit home and watch the entire broadcast with us. She's got a great shot of the cannon balloon over some trees that she got from a friend in Corrales.
Someone asking about Arabella the cow. They are not here this year. They're taking a year off, and so Arabella, which is always a crowd favorite, is not with us this year.
But we continue to have a great relationship with Creamland, who has always brought us.
They're not.
Nothing there.
It's not like they're mad at us or something like that. It's
Yeah.
just sometimes, you know, as a balloonist, even there are favorite events you love to go to, but after a while, it's kind of nice to do something a little different sometimes. One of the reasons, quite honestly, that I've decided to retire from announcing the Plano Balloon Festival is that the week before, for the last 4 years now, I've been over in the UK where I'm the announcer for the Sky Safari event we've been talking about. And I want to be able to stay over in the UK and do some other events and other things there at that time of year. And I always have to rush right back. My schedule is I fly back from London on Tuesday, drive home to Shreveport on Wednesday, pack my bags on Thursday, and drive to Plano. And that's just become really, really tough after I've been over in the UK on a different time zone for a month. And so I just decided it was time to move on and to do other things other things that I want to enjoy. And so I've stepped aside at Plano and handed the reins over to you on that. And Arabelle's just doing the same thing, taking a year off to do some other things.
Can we go back to that shot, Steve? The shot from our balloon cam with the two balloons landing in the field, and right between them was a white sheet. So that's one of that's one of the things that we ask our landowners to do in the area here, is to put out a white sheet or a white X that they've picked up. And the idea here is that says, hey, this is a great place to land.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
We
Come on down.
We welcome. It's like a welcome mat.
Yeah.
We welcome balloons to land here.
Come on down and land here.
Oh, well spotted, Art. Well spotted.
And last year, through the Hispano Chamber of Commerce here in Albuquerque, we started a program to encourage landowners to do that.
Right.
And so now those pilots will be giving that landowner a card to fill out with their information, and they'll be entered
to win some nice
prizes
prizes.
and some other prizes as well.
I can recall years ago at the U.S. National Championships, it was held in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And
I was there for one of those.
And they started doing that, and there were reports that the entire town had been sold out of white bed sheets because there were so many landowners that were buying sheets and putting them out to indicate basically as a welcome mat for the balloon. So it's good to see that happening here in Albuquerque.
By the same token, we've said if you have animals, horses, those kinds of things, and it's just not a good idea to land there, put a red sheet out as well.
Exactly.
And the pilots have been asked to fly on beyond that. Find one of the white sheets or one of the places that is a better landing spot.
Vicki Chastain is asking on Facebook, is the Jesus balloon there? Yes, Christ the Redeemer is here. We've seen it several times.
But there is a different Jesus balloon as well who's not. So the Jesus isn't, Christ Redeemer is.
Okay, yeah, you're right, my bad. I apologize.
Right. Hey, Brad Heather has got his parents out under Lottie Dottie Chicken out there. And he's watching on the feed, knows his parents are out there. So, yeah.
Dan Golson says, show us your sheets. There's a comic in every audience, isn't there? Well done, Dan.
Hey, so with no competition today, we don't have to clear the field.
No,
all
we
these
don't.
Balloons, I'm going to guess, since I've seen a number of our safety officials that are out on the field come back in, I'm going to guess, I may have missed the radio transmission, that those who are on the field now will probably stay in a static display for us.
I think launching is probably closed because several of these are balloons that actually launched and have now landed.
Yes, and like I said, with the safety officials, the field safety officials starting to come back in, I think you're probably right that the field is now maybe closed for launch. It is almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so we'll see a static display here of these balloons, and a couple dozen out there. Great time if you're over there along Concession Row and have had your breakfast and have got some shopping done. Go ahead and wander out among the balloons. You're certainly welcome to do that at any time. All of the balloons that come were given a number of trading cards that they are to be encouraged to pass out and or trade with kids and adults and all ages. Pictures of the balloons and who's flying it and where they're from.
Is Friday Kids Day this coming Friday?
Actually, tomorrow. Thursday is Kids Day.
Okay, because I know a lot of the cards are given away on Kids Day because they encourage kids from all the public schools and whatnot to come out to Balloon Fiesta Park.
The public schools in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho, I think Rio Rancho does it as well, they take a couple of days off. This becomes their fall break. And so there is no school on Thursday and Friday, which coincides nicely with
Kids Day.
With Kids Day, with Special Shapes Day.
Right.
And we're doing 2 events, morning and evening. It also allows us to have those school buses that we can use for park and ride. So everything times out very nicely for all of that. Anyway, with the balloon cards, pick those up, and if you find one of our Balloon Fiesta Live folks, we have our own set of Balloon Fiesta Live
well,
trading
some of
cards
us
as
do.
well.
I don't have any with me, so don't come up asking me for one. Well, no, it's fine.
Fix that.
Okay, folks, I now have a stack of Balloon Fiesta trading cards, so please come up and ask for one.
Ask Glen for them. Hey, Ruth's been out there on the north end of the field. A few moments ago, she was at chainsaw carving.
Yep.
And right next to chainsaw carving is the Balloon Discovery Center. Ruth, tell us about it.
This is the most wonderful place. I'm here with Howard Morgenstern, who's working here at the Balloon Discovery Center today, and it's all about the kids and letting the kids get up close and personal. Tell us about some of the things that are happening here at the Discovery Center, Howard.
Well, we've set up a bunch of stuff to try to get the kids interested in ballooning. Right behind us we have a simulator where they can get into a basket, and actually try to fly a balloon. Behind you, can't see it on camera, we have an example of a gas balloon and all the equipment that's inside. We also have the equipment for a hot air balloon, and then a bunch of other stuff around the tent showing how hot air balloons work and trying to get them interested in the science and technology of hot air balloons.
How many years have you been doing this?
Oh gosh, probably volunteering for 5 years, and before that I was a pilot and flying Fiesta, so now I'm doing the more fun stuff.
So you've been here a long time like the rest of us. We're going to step back from each other a little bit and see if we can get some good shots of the people in the balloon using the simulator. Let's see if we can get this gentleman to allow us to film the child. Can we get you to, we would like to get a picture of this child here. Here we go. This is live TV, folks. We're doing the best we can. Now you watch, and this child is going to actually fly the balloon with some help. And on the screen, he can see where he's going. He knows when to burn, when to vent if he wants to vent. And at the end of his flight, he's going to actually get a score. And if he crashes, it won't hurt.
How's he doing?
But he's doing a pretty good job. That's a very nice landing approach he has there. Here he comes into land. He's coming into, looks like a golf course maybe. And here he goes. Boom!
Wow.
Nice stand-up landing.
That's awesome.
That is absolutely wonderful. So we're going to let him continue his flight, and we'll send our broadcast back up to Glen and Art.
Hey, the other thing that's happening at the Balloon Discovery Center down there is they have a TV with channel 28 on in there. So if you, want to go out and check that out as well, you have the ability to see that. So if you're hanging out there, you can keep tabs of what's happening on the field, because it is our Balloon Fiesta TV running 24/7 with, of course, our live shows.
That young man did a great job piloting that balloon.
He did.
I can't help but remember one of the years we used to do a balloon event down at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Steve Lombardi put that on, Balloon or Liftoff it was called. And during our free time, we would go over into the Space Center, and they had simulators where you could fly the space shuttle. And I crashed and burned every time. I would never have made an astronaut. And I was just thinking that young man landed a balloon better than I did most of the time. So well done for him.
I've actually flown that simulator a number of times, and it's very easy to crash it.
Is it?
You don't tip or any, but you hit really hard. The other thing is you actually
have to do that in a real balloon.
You have a pretty limited amount of propane in that simulator.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful about that, and obviously there's the wind patterns that will change on you as they do in a regular balloon. But yeah, it's not as easy as it looks, but that was a great landing there.
I was going to say, one of my first flights here in Albuquerque, when I first earned my pilot's license back in 1990, I had a brand new Thundering Colt balloon, and Ron and Trish Berman were thinking about buying a balloon. And so the Thundering Colt folks asked if I would take Trish for a flight to let her see the balloon and the equipment, and I did. And I had a horrendous hard landing. We were coming in for a landing, and over in Arroyo, and where there were some balloons already down. And as we were coming in, fortunately, some of those crews on the ground pointed out and shouted, "Power line, power line," and I hadn't seen it. So I burned to get really high up above it. Then I vented to get down real quickly, and we came down and hit like a rock. In fact, I think poor Trish had to go to a chiropractor the next morning, and she dubbed me a nickname I've never been proud of, and I don't tell it out often, but she dubbed me Thumper after that. And so yeah, it's not. I can crash. I can land hard in a real balloon real easy. I'm sure I could do the same in that simulator down there.
Yeah, as Ruth said, the good news is if you hit hard in the simulator, it
doesn't hurt. Well, ours hurt. Yeah,
yeah, it would.
Trish ended up going to a chiropractor the next day to get kind of some things straightened out. But and I used to know. I can remember looking. I looked at our instruments, and because I was also flying my crew chief at the time, Rick Unger from out in California, and I remember looking at the variometer on the balloon, and it was pegged. We were coming down strong. It was a solid hit.
Always a nice picture from your balloon camera and from the balloon to see your shadow.
Yeah.
On the ground going across the
and sometimes
open field there.
I get people submit the pictures to ballooning all the time. where depending on the terrain you're flying over, sometimes the terrain will break the shadow and it creates a heart shape.
Yes.
And that's always kind of a cool picture.
So I just saw Tamo go by out of the picture
Yeah.
and Cannon. There's the Wyoming balloon as well.
There's Pat Fogue again, I think. And no, that's a different
not
balloon.
them. But there's Spirit of 76, Jason Gabriel we talked about, all flying over the North Valley. The direction that was stream that we had most of the morning that was going out to the northwest has kind of changed. And I've asked that we kind of keep an eye on this yellow balloon with the black, white, and red kind of going through it, because that's an Adams balloon with the old pop top on it.
Oh, yeah.
The red up there. And I don't know how long that balloon is going to stand up here before he deflates, but I'd like to catch the deflation of that one if we when and if that happens. Because while we've talked about the parachute top in these balloons, and where you pull the parachute down into the balloon and the hot air escapes, you let it go and it reseals. On these Adams pop tops, what they have is a ring that's kind of holding all the fabric together, and when they pull the pin out of there, the fabric goes up,
and the pin
it just kind of flops open.
It was always, it was always a little bit frightening in a sense, because the pin is just held in. You go up and you actually tie a knot in a piece of string that holds the pin in place, and you think, that's what's keeping my balloon together?
And me in the air?
And me in the air, yeah.
Yeah.
I only flew an Adams pop top once. I did that as a training flight.
Actually,
and I ended up donutting the balloon right down around us. We popped it, and it was so calm, the balloon just fell right down. The basket was surrounded by, we were like an island surrounded by a sea of fabric.
Well, we've watched, in fact, right next to it was the screwed up Gator balloon, and it takes a few moments, actually a few minutes, for it to get that hot air out, and in many cases the crew has to come along and squeeze or milk the air out of the balloon to get it all out. That's not the case on one of those Adams pop tops.
No.
There's a shot of Smokey's face from our north camp, because he's got the back to us here.
I'm seeing
Again,
that.
Dale Patton in Smokey Bear Force.
Karen Jones-Muni says, passing along information, Facebook has it where you can re-watch any of these programs if you follow Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Well, you can also do that on balloonfiesta.com. Our programs are archived on all of our social media channels. And
when you do that, the comments go by just as if you
were
watching it live.
You can see the chat going by just as you watch the, as if you were watching it live. You're right, but you can go back. You can actually go back and watch last year or the first year we started. I think we have all 3 years.
We do.
Or all 2 previous years are archived. So if you missed part of Fiesta last year, you can go back and watch those programs. So they're all there available for you.
77 hours of video in the last 2 years.
Sounds like a binge watching party to me.
There you go. Well, and I think as of yesterday, we were over the 20-hour mark already here for 2019. So we're fast approaching our 100 hours of live Balloon Fiesta on Balloon Fiesta Live.
Well, and the good news is we have another night off tonight. We don't have an evening activity this evening, so this will be our second and last night off this week. I have to find something fun to do. I haven't really made any plans for tonight. I'm so used to coming back out here at 6:30 in the evening that, as I say, last night.
That was our raccoon we just saw on the screen.
Yeah.
There's Kathy's Hope, the yellow balloon with the pink.
The cancer arrow
ribbon.
Ribbons, thank you. Yep.
Balloons down in the trees.
Last night, our hometown gang and all the crew kind of got together for a great dinner. The crew now actually uses Airbnb to rent a house here in Albuquerque. And so they all stay in one place, and we had a nice big feed. You were kind enough to drop in and join us. And
you guys were generous for the...
lots of food there last night.
There was.
We had...
there was.
Gosh, steak and sausages and brats and chicken and at least a half...
all the fixins. A full table of desserts.
A full table of desserts. My gosh.
Yep.
I think we all went into cardiac arrest after that. But
our crew did that one time just recently. We were at an out-of-town rally and decided to get a RV, just everybody at the house, and it was actually cheaper than all of us getting hotel rooms, and it was kind of fun to stay together.
And that's basically what it's Pat Harwell's crew I'm talking about from there in Louisiana, and they do the same thing. It's actually cheaper for them over the 9 nights to go together and split the cost of renting the entire house there's 6 of them staying there than it is to pay for individual hotel rooms. So
I think that Steve Mezzincello and Mesmerized Me in the left side of the screen with Busby over on the right. Steve was one of the last ones over the target yesterday, you'll remember.
Yes.
And had a very nice drop. I didn't get get his scores, but he came in and just pitched it right out, dropped in within a few inches of the center of the X. Lady Jester deflating now.
Yeah, I think we're probably at a point where maybe we can
yeah.
wrap up for the morning.
I was kind of hoping. I think that's Bill Dimmitt in that yellow one. I was kind of hoping to get that
the pop top.
The pop top go.
Yeah. But send the launch director over there and say deflate that dadgum thing.
Yeah, we should do that.
We're trying to make you a TV star and you're not cooperating.
Yeah. It was just a great shot there with the side of the red, white, and blue balloon looking down the whole field there.
My phone's dinging at me, which tells me that my cats are up and active.
Is that the ding?
Yeah, that's that little ding you hear. I have a cat camera, a pet cam at home that monitors them for me, and whenever it senses motion, it records about 30 seconds of them usually wandering over through the kitchen to their food bowls or chasing each other or whatever, and so every time it senses motion, it dings to send me an alert. And I just heard a couple of dings, and tells me probably Ranger. He's the more active of the two.
Look at that. There's a balloon deflated on the field, and it's in the shadow of our balloon camp balloon.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, nice shot.
That's Richard Rhett. That's his balloon.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
the golden yellow balloon with all those. What I always call them flags. I'm not sure that's what they are, but they always remind me of the
semaphore
flags that you see on ships at sea. So yeah, that's Richard's balloon on the ground that's deflated there.
Bella, Colorado.
There's the pop-top balloon we keep waiting to see if it's going to deflate so we can see the...
So the blue one with the white, yellow, and red inside there, that's Bella, Colorado. So that's a regular shape with the parachute top in it. You can see it's laying over, and there's still a lot of air inside of that. So we'll give it a couple more minutes here.
Yeah, it would be fun to see that come down for people that aren't familiar with the Adams pop-tops.
Shirley Brown says, how do we order DVDs of this? You don't, because we don't have DVDs of this. It's all streamed and archived online. That's our pilot, Ted Mays.
Yeah.
So talking to the crew.
Probably looking for a site to land out there.
Hey, somebody getting their balloon ride.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think that's the radio we're hearing there.
I'm directly west of Corrales Road right now.
Yeah, he's telling the crew where he's at. That's very helpful, thank you. So that they can find him to be there when he lands.
And I think
We now have eyes on you.
Well, if he's landing, we may not want to bother him, but...
You know, that is one of the things we've talked a little bit, especially yesterday during competition, the fact that now we're flying with GPSs and iPads with moving maps and all that other kind of stuff on it. There is a whole lot of additional distractions, just like with driving, with all the technology we have in our cars these days. There are many more distractions in flying a balloon. Not the least of them, not the radio. Now, when I first started flying, we used to say, we don't need no stinking radios.
Yeah.
And I got very good at reading, when I was crewing, at reading the brain and the mind of the pilot and being able to guess where she was going to bring the balloon down and land there, and or following them. Radios, of course, make it much more easy, and they could say, turn left at the next street, and you're not guessing where to go.
Well, and nowadays, back in the day when I first started, we actually used the old Citizens Band CB radios to talk, and that was always a challenge because you were on a channel with all the other CBers out there having a breaker, type thing. And nowadays we have there are a variety of different options. One of which, though, most balloonists use business radio band radios. And one of the benefits of being a member of the Balloon Federation of America, I actually engineered this some years ago. We applied to the FCC, and we have a nationwide license of specific business band channels that are licensed for balloon and pilots and crews to use in flight. And if you're a member of the Balloon Federation of America, you are thereby licensed to use those channels for your balloon communication. A lot of pilots buy radios and use them, and technically they're using them illegally.
So actually, a number of our those channels have been made available to our pilots here as well. I actually have them programmed into my radio as well. We have one of our business channel licenses, but we have those as well. So I'm understanding that we may be able to talk to Ted Mays, our pilot of the As Time Flies XTO sponsored balloon. Ted, how's it going up there?
It's going great. We've had a nice morning right into the river, and now we're currently over Corrales. I think I'm going to pop back up and hit the west side of Corrales and call it a day. It'll be fantastic. It's been a privilege flying the XTO balloon for Mr. Tristan McLean, and I will be stepping down, and you'll have a new pilot tomorrow, but it has been absolutely an awesome 3 days with you guys.
We certainly appreciate you. Certainly appreciate you flying the. Yeah, we certainly appreciate you flying the banner and the balloon for us, and allowing us to put the camera in there with our camera person. We've had fabulous pictures. You've given us stuff that we have never seen from the air before.
Awesome, guys. You guys have a great day. We'll see you back on the ground at the field.
All right, safe landing.
All right. So we.
That's fun. That's another first.
There's another first as well. This has been a great time.
So I see the mounted patrol walking there, or riding their horses, I guess, at a slow pace across the field there. We had them online
I wish I had communicated. I'm going to get on the radio and see if we can get Bill to put down, and then we can go forward with that.
Well, okay.
Talk among yourself for a moment.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, as I was saying, the mounted patrol are making their way across the field from the let's see, southwest corner over toward, looks like they're headed over to the main stage area. And again, they have special Balloon Fiesta pins they typically sell to help raise funds to take care of the horses and the mounted patrol members throughout the year. So if you can, if you catch up to them when they're over in the spectator area, might be a good thing to do. Also this morning, a great day. I'm going to, as soon as we wrap up here, I'm going to jump on the golf cart and go do a little visiting with friends and some of the vendors down on the field. I haven't really had a chance to do that because we haven't had, yesterday was our first day off, and so today's only our second, but a chance to go down and kibitz around a bit, do a little socializing and see what there is to see along Main Street. Went down and saw my friend Bella earlier this week at the Arizona Tube Art. One of the great vendors that are here. Love his products, but there are many others down there worth investigating. And go down and see Doug and Patty at Discover Balloons, and see Phil Whittington at his place, and Diane Carlson, of course, down at Plano Pen Company. All longtime friends that are here on Main Street. So is he going to deflate? Did you get in touch?
He is. I did talk to our launch officials.
So are we on that balloon? We need to get the camera on
let's
this so we don't miss
switch
it.
back over to the there you go.
Yeah, let's stay with that shot.
I think they have a launch director out that way. Launch directors, of course, also serve as safety officers as well. And actually, the timing's about right. You're starting to see a little bit of
wind on the field,
kind of drifting those over.
And it's about time for us to wrap up anyway and say
well.
goodbye. So
they said they would go over there and ask Bill Dimmitt to give us a demonstration of his pop top, and we'll see how fast that balloon deflates.
Yeah, you can actually see the balloon is leaning into the wind a bit.
Yeah.
And as is the Canon wind flag right here on their corporate tent, just in front of us, beginning to blow. So you're right, there is a little bit of breeze
starting
the
to pick up on the field.
The balloon in front of him is coming down right now, I think. At least it's being blown over by the wind.
Yeah, the top's
They haven't pulled the top yet. But so you can definitely see even Smokey Bear down there on the far northwest corner is leaning as the wind is coming from the west now.
So we can see the on the top there's kind of a little red circle and then a white and then back to black.
And then red.
All of that is just going to pop straight up once he pulls that ring out. So we're just going to stay on this shot here. Actually, now you see the other one. This is going to be a great demonstration. There's the one with the parachute top.
Yeah, and I see the launch directors walking up toward Bill now. There's a couple of zebras out there I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we just got word that he's about to deflate. So
copy that. We're ready.
We'll stay on that shot. For those of you that are not familiar with ballooning, this is just a demonstration of a different type of deflation port, a little more unusual. Not a lot of Adams pop tops out there.
No, they've gone to the parachute top in the newer Adams.
But this is a very rapid, the balloon will deflate, you'll see, much more rapidly than a parachute top balloon will.
Because that entire opening opens up, there's nothing in the way of the hot air
whereas
going
with
up.
a parachute, you pull it down into the balloon and the air still has to flow up and around that parachute, that big plug of fabric. And the parachute top, the pop, it's like popping the top on a can. It just pops open and the whole top of the balloon is open all of a sudden. So the air can really rush right out the top.
It looks like it's getting ready to go.
Yeah.
There it goes.
There it goes. See, pop.
There's the top.
The whole, and look how
Yeah, go
fast
ahead.
the balloon
Yep.
comes down. The air
It's
just
coming down.
rushes
Just
right
follow-
out.
There, look at that.
Look at that. That's just awesome, isn't it?
And look, the other one there is they're still getting the
Yeah,
air
the
out of
parachute
it.
top is
but
still
Bill's
half
Angel
inflated.
Wings, Sunrise Angel, sorry,
And he's
is
down.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the parachute top of the other balloon. I think that's is that 76? No, 76 is out there in the river there somewhere. But there's the difference between a parachute top deflation and an Adams pop top deflation.
Yep. The pop top is a very efficient, quick deflation port. It really just, the balloon just dumps itself down onto the ground just
I understand
very, very rapidly.
their manuals say do not pull this deflation port if you're more than 15 feet off the ground.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parachute guys will pull it about 15 feet off the ground and hold it open.
Especially in a high wind
in a
landing.
high wind landing
Yes.
type of thing.
Yeah.
Yep, as well.
Absolutely.
All righty. Hey, let me thank you guys. Thank Bill for me as well. You got it.
Nice piece of video we'll have there.
There we go. So with that, and let me just mention my good buddy Neil Smith in First Light out there.
Okay.
And putting the balloon up to get the banner up. But with that, I think we're going to call it a morning.
I think so. It's been a great morning at Balloon Fiesta, the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon.
If you tuned us in late, go back and watch it in the repeat because we've got a Dawn Patrol show with a formation
With
flight
a
this
first
morning.
ever formation launch, yeah.
So we also have the Flight of the Nations,
Yep.
our Krispy Kreme glow. They all lifted off. We went off north to south today. Our balloon camera footage, splash and dash. I think we had
a pretty
everything,
full show.
everything except competition today.
Yeah, whatever
here
you
on
would
Balloon
come
Fiesta
to
Live.
Balloon Fiesta to see, you probably saw it this morning, except pilots throwing markers at targets, and we'll resume that tomorrow.
We will.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching us. Again, check us out. We're here every single morning at 6 o'clock Mountain Time and at 6:30 for our evening shows. No evening show tonight.
Not tonight.
But starting back tomorrow night, we'll have
Yep.
3 more evening shows, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 6:30. All Mountain Time. We'll let you do your own time zone conversion.
Right. Yeah, so wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning or evening, thanks again for tuning in. We hope you have a great day or had a great day, as the case may be.
There you go.
We're off to a great start here, and I'm going to go down and see what's on Main Street, do a little shopping perhaps this morning.
That would be a great thing. We're going to have a pilot picnic here for all of our pilots on the field. So,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I'll probably attend that.
Might go
and
down
then
and mooch a little munchie, too.
Yeah, there you go. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Art Lloyd Jr.
I'm Glen Moyer.
We'll see you again tomorrow morning.
Bye-bye.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. Always in October and always in Albuquerque, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is the world's premier ballooning event. This program is a production of AIBF Inc., all rights reserved. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live.